Yo, it's your boy Ryan, Northwest Sports Fanatics, back at you with a new video. Today is Tuesday, September 17th, 2024, with your boy Ryan and the Northwest Sports Fanatics. Make sure you guys subscribe to the channel. Smash that like button either now or on your way out. Donate to your boy if you can. Cash App $ ORION NWSF or the YouTube Super Chat right here. We got the New York Yankees versus the Seattle Mariners. First pitch is going to be here in roughly 10 minutes. So let's cue up the music, take a look at the thumb, and let's get into the starting lineups. Happy Tuesday, everyone. And on the thumb on the left, we have the OG Aaron Judge. And on the right, the Seattle Mariners ace, the best pitcher, Brian Woo. Now let's get into the starting lineups here first for the visiting New York Yankees. Leading off for the Yankees at second base, Gleyber Torres. Batting second, playing right field, Juan Soto. Batting third, DHing tonight for New York in the 3-hole, Aaron Judge. Batting cleanup, batting fourth, catching tonight for New York, Austin Wells. Batting fifth, playing third base, Jazz Chisholm. Batting sixth, playing center field, Jason Dominguez. Batting seventh, playing first base for the Yankees, Anthony Rizzo. Batting eighth, playing shortstop for New York, Oswaldo Cabrera. And batting ninth, playing left field, Alex Verdugo. And on the mound for the Yankees with a 13-6 record, an ERA of 3.18, it is Luis Hill. And now let's get into the starting lineup for your Seattle Mariners. Leading off for the Mariners at DH, Victor Robles. Batting second, playing center field, Julio Rodriguez. Batting third, catching tonight for the Mariners, big dumper, catcher Cal Raleigh. Batting cleanup, batting fourth, left fielder Randy Arozarena. Batting fifth, playing right field tonight for Seattle, Luke Raley. Batting sixth, playing first base for Seattle, Justin Turner. Batting seventh, playing second base, Jorge Polanco. Batting eighth, playing shortstop, J.P. Crawford. And batting ninth, playing third base for the Mariners, Hollywood Josh Rojas. And on the mound for the Seattle Mariners, our number one pitcher, our ace, 8-2 record, an ERA of 2.38, one of the best in MLB overall. It is Brian Woo. Go get him, Brian. We're going to need you. A solid 6 or 7 innings. We can win here tonight. Let's go, baby. And like I mentioned multiple times on the stream, make sure you guys are taking care of your mental health. Addiction, depression, anxiety, these are things that we go through on the daily or have in the past. So if you feel like you're slipping into the darkness a little bit, make some minor adjustments to your daily routine, and you can get back on track. If you're not exercising, exercise. If you're not eating healthy, eat a little bit healthier. Listen to music throughout your day. You do these basic little things by spending time with friends, family, and pets, getting rid of the toxic people in your life. And if you do this basic steps, it'll help you get back on track and win the day. We're going to be shooting for 20 likes within the first hour, 30 to 50 overall, and 100 in the donos on every single stream. Now, let me get situated here. Got to get all the new windows situated, so give me a sec. One second, I want to make sure I got all my options. There we go. All right, I'm good now. I just wanted to make sure. You always want to make sure you have everything set up properly, but then just in case if you have any issues, you want to make sure that if there's any type of backup, that everything is working properly. So everything is good to go. I am ready. What's good, brother? Okay, sounds all right. Let's get to 100 in donos. Let's do it. Like, sub, donate, comment, share. If you have a Twitter/X account, do your boy a solid and like and retweet the post. But more importantly, if you can smash that like button, it'll help us get into the algorithm quicker, and it'll be a little bit easier for us to maintain those numbers. If we can get 20 in the first hour, that would be fantastic. Congratulations on moving into your new apartment. That's always an exciting feeling where everything is brand new. Nothing is ruined unless there's, some damage on the walls or in the carpet that you knew, going in. But most of the time, going into a new condo or apartment or house, everything is relatively cleaned and brand new to your standard. And hopefully everything, obviously besides the moving, which can be a little bit taxing and a little tiring, hopefully everything is going well in your new apartment. Congrats on that. Daniel in the building, what's good? How are you? Oh, man, you just can't catch a break after all these months. Hopefully that will not be as serious as maybe originally thought, but I hope you are having a very good day. And yes, the judge is in. For me, I'm not going to get too overly excited when we play certain teams, but when it's the Yankees or Dodgers, for sure, I'm going to definitely be up for it because I love Aaron Judge. I love Shohei Ohtani. I love being able to see greatness, even if it's on the other side. And they got Juan Soto and Giancarlo Stanton as well. It's not going to be easy. And they've also added, since the last time we played the Yankees, Jazz Chisholm, and they called up Jason Dominguez, this up-and-coming prospect. So I'm very excited to see this new-look Yankees. Hopefully we can end up getting the dub today. Brian Wu is on the mound. I believe we got Bryce Miller on the mound tomorrow. So we have a very good chance to win these two first matchups. But again, it's all going to be a complete effort with starting pitching, the relievers, the closer, as well as situational hitting. But hopefully we get a couple home runs as well as some key RBIs and back-to-back-to-back hits. We always play chaotic baseball. That's the way that we play. And tridents up. Hopefully we can be competitive here tonight. And if there's any Yankee fans in the building, GG. Hopefully it ends up being competitive all the way through. But again, you never really know what you're going to get when you play against a team like the Yankees or the Dodgers. Britt in the building. How are you? Missed you. Captain Oreo in the building. Let's go, baby. Yes, we do. And we're going to have to, do everything in our power to get it done. Let's go, baby. I'm ready for this one. And unfortunately, I ended up getting an email, and this particular program that I use to stream So I have a separate bill for internet that I have to pay to get my, my gig service, right? So 1,000 up, 1,000 down. I'm already paying, like usually around $100 for that. And I just got an email for this program that I normally use. It costs $25 a month on top of my internet separate company, just to be able to use this program so I can do the pictures, and it's got the ticker and it's got everything laid out, right? And back in the day, some of these services used to be free, but now everyone wants money, so everyone's raising their prices. So now I get an email saying they're going to raise it up to $45 a month. That's a big jump. That's like doubling my cost just to record every month. So I'm going to have to work even harder now to be able to make up for that. They did add a few extra camera angles, 1080p instead of 720p. And also on top of that, you have an opportunity to do a dark screen. So obviously, instead of having it white, we can have it dark. I tried it out, and I didn't really think the dark looked as good. I mean, I think it's one of those things. It just depends on what I'm using for my background, if I have my cards or not, since everything else is kind of bright. I was going to actually play around with some of the cameras and the different looks of it, as well as doing that dark theme. But after trying it out and just doing like a video of it and looking at it, I didn't really like it. I think this is the presentation that I like, being the brightest. And obviously you want to make sure that you're awake when you're watching your streamer. You don't want to be looking at the screen falling asleep. So, and again, I feel sometimes with those dark screens, and I prefer typically the dark most of the time, like on my cell phone, or if it goes from white during the day and then dark at night. But, it is what it is, but not really too thrilled about the price jump. I mean, if it was 25 to 30 or 35, okay, fine. But the one that they have me on is the cheapest version. There's ones that are even more. I'm like, man, I don't even know who they think I am, but that's crazy. All right, top of the first, your boys got to grind. Brian Wu on the mound. First pitch outside, 1-0 count to Gleyber Torres. And on the mound is our ace, our freak, our genetic machine, Brian Wu. Let's fucking go. 1-0 pitch to Torres, right down the middle. Crushed foul, 1 ball and 1 strike. And I've been looking forward to this matchup with the Yankees for weeks. Been circled on the calendar. And when I noticed that Brian Wu is going to be pitching right after Monday Night Football, that's the best thing you can ask for. Starting a series against the Yankees with our best pitcher to give us a chance to set the tone. Yes, please. Big swing and a miss to Torres. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Little dribbler. It is fair. And Rojas can't make the throw. Nice base hit by Gleyber Torres. So we don't have Giancarlo Stanton in the lineup, but he'll probably be in pinch hitting, possibly a little bit later in the game, as long as he's not hurt. Let me look at the injury report to see if they have anything. DJ LeMahieu is on the 10-day IL, and then a bunch of pitchers. So, yeah, I think that either they gave him a day off or he'll be pinch hitting later in the game, maybe. Next up for the Yankees, right fielder Juan Soto. And they definitely have a new swagger and a new aura and vibe since bringing Soto in from the Padres. And really, wherever Soto goes, some people like him, some people dislike him. But at the end of the day, he's a damn good player. 285 average, 39 homers, 101 ribbies. And if he doesn't stay on New York after this year, don't be surprised if he signs with the rival Dodgers in the American League to add to Shohei Ohtani, Mookie Betts, Freddie Freeman, Teoscar Hernandez, and possibly Juan Soto. So, I mean, I could definitely see it. I mean, you're going from, one side of greatness to the other. It just kind of depends on, I guess, in Juan Soto's career, who do you think has the best chance to win the World Series? Now, if the Yankees go all the way, he'll probably stay. But if the Yankees get eliminated and the Dodgers go all the way, maybe he goes to the Dodgers. Now, if they both lose, who knows? And Soto with another base hit into right field and center field. Julio scoops it up. And we got runners at second and third right out of the gates on Brian Wu. Not ideal. But when you end up going against a lineup like this, what do you expect? Next up, DHing for the Yankees, Aaron Judge. And there's no question that Aaron Judge will be the MVP in the American League, and Shohei Ohtani will be the MVP in the National League. These are the two best players in baseball, period. Yes, Francisco Lindor for the Mets has had a great season, as well as Bobby Witt Jr. and a few others. But if we're being honest and real with no bias, these two guys, if you're looking up the statistics, Judge is always going to be leading in 8 out of 10 categories with home runs and ribbies, hits and all that. Maybe, with OPS, all these extra statistics. And then Shohei Ohtani is typically going to give you the pitching stats, but not this year because he's got to recover from the surgery. But he can still hit. Maybe not as many home runs as Aaron Judge. If Aaron's at like 50 or 60, maybe Shohei's at 40 to 55. But the difference is that Shohei's going to get you more stolen bases, and he gives you that versatility where he can pitch also. And no other player has really been able to do that at an elite level. Babe Ruth did it, but he wasn't as good of a pitcher as Shohei. Judge crushed it right down that third base line about 5 feet in. That brings in 1, that brings in 2, and the Mariner fans and the Yankee fans are getting their money's worth right out of the gates. Aaron Judge, 2-0 Yankees. And not what we want to see out of Bryan Woo, but again, hopefully he can keep it under 4. And if that's the case, hopefully we need to get to 5 runs, 7 to 10 hits. And this is the Yankees. So again, there is no warm-up period, right? You don't get a couple innings to hope that they just strike out, pop up, and ground out. These guys are going to be very aggressive on first pitch strikes, and that's what Bryan Woo is going to try to do to set the tone. First pitch strikes to get ahead of the count, 0-2 instead of 2-0. So hopefully we can settle in here, but we need to get some outs. Big swing and a miss to Austin Wells. 0-1 count. Come on, Mariners. Hell yeah, I'm proud of you guys. Like I said, fantasy football isn't easy when you're playing with freaks of nature that are going crazy every week. It's like, Captain Oreo is doing his thing with his team. Me and Reflect, we're typically going to be in the playoffs as one of the 4 or 2 of the 4 teams, maybe in the championship, maybe not. But then you're getting a lot of these other individuals in the room that are just learning the game or have been playing for some time. And really, it's the most competitive that I've seen it on the channel. And on top of that, we got 3 females. Like, how many other sports channels would have 3 females out of a 10-man woman league? Not many. Most don't even have 1. So to be able to have 3 intelligent ladies trying to go at it on the fantasy side against the guys, some that have been doing it for a long time, some just for a few years, got him, Austin Wells, first K for Bryan Woo. But I feel that instead of 1 or 2 powerhouse teams, I really feel there's like probably 6 teams battling for 4 playoff spots, and the other 4 teams that are behind the top 6 aren't that behind. It's just they need to make some minor adjustments, pray that these injuries go away. But as you know, the injuries can derail a team in fantasy early, in the middle, or late. And even though injuries might not have hit your team early, and they may down the road, so you got to be very cautious to make sure that your bench is looking right, because at any given moment, you can end up having your number 1 running back, Christian McCaffrey, number 1 receiver, Cooper Kupp, go down, and then you're scrambling, hoping that you can keep up with everyone else until they come back. 1-0 pitch to Jazz Chisholm. Check swing, 1-1 count, 1 ball and 1 strike. And this is my first time being able to see the Mariners against Jazz since he got acquired from the Marlins in the trade deadline. And I'm also excited to be able to see Jason Dominguez, because this is the first time I've seen him against the Mariners that's being called up, this up-and-coming prospect in center field. 1-1 pitch from Bryan Woo to Jazz Chisholm, 2 balls and 1 strike. Come on, Brian. We need you, baby. And again, any pitcher can give up 2 runs in the first inning to the Yankees. It's not ideal that it's you, but you're good enough to be able to recover from this. And still, if the offense can bring their part, we can still win this game. 2-1 pitch. Chopper towards first. Right to Polo. 2 away. Thank God. Next up for the Yankees, center fielder, up-and-coming stud Jason Dominguez with 2 S's, Jasson. So it's not just like a regular Jason. Everyone's got a modified spelling in their name nowadays. First pitch to Dominguez for a strike. Got my Napa Racing sign from the Vegas race put up here on my wall, finally. You know, I've had it in a plastic bag for 20 plus years. Popped up, Rojas is there on third base, and it looks really, really good. You know, I had an old boss that really got me into NASCAR, and he was kind enough to get me one of those expensive $20, $25 programs at the Vegas race in the early 2000s, and then getting one of those, you know, kind of hard plastic flag kind of markers when they're in the pit so the cars know when to come in. And it's dual side, double-sided, but obviously I went with the Napa Racing side, and it looks very slick on the wall. All right, 2-0 Yankees. Let's go to the bottom of the first and see if we can get anything in damage in return from what the Yankees just did. And on the mound for New York, 13-6 record, ERA of 3.18, Luis Hill. And again, this is not going to be easy. He's a very good pitcher, so we're going to have to get on him early and often, and we're going to have to be swinging at a lot of first pitch strikes to hopefully get on base, you know, as often as possible in these first 4 innings. Leading off for the Mariners, and I didn't know if he was going to play today. He was day to day. He was going to take today off and play tomorrow, but I'm happy that he's there, DHing Victor Robles, arguably our best hitter, you know, game in and game out. Batting second, center fielder Julio Rodriguez, and batting third, big dumper, catcher Cal Raleigh. Let's go Mariners. And we're doing some good movement, obviously, you know, on the channel. Now we only need 59 more subs, now 58 more subs before we get to 20,600. So we've been gaining them on the reaction videos as well as the live streams for baseball and football. So that's great. And I really appreciate all the love and the support. If you haven't smashed that like button yet, please do. Help us get to 20 in the first hour, 30 to 50 overall. Let's go, baby. And obviously, we'll be shooting for 100 in donos on every single stream. All right, we're at 10, so we got about a third of the people, and they just hit Victor Robles again. Ooh, the guy's already injured, and it seems like every time, you know, and that wasn't malicious or anything, but Robles and Randy have been targeted for whatever reason nowadays, and that is brutal. All right, we're at 12. We got almost 30 in the room. If there's anyone else that can do your boy a solid and smash that like button, 8 more out of the other 17 that haven't done it will get us to 20. And they're going to take a look at Victor Robles' wrist, and hopefully he is okay. I mean, he's already DHing right now. First pitch inside, almost at his head, and then the catcher does a shitty job, Austin Wells, to get his hand in there, and it pretty much hits him right on the knuckles there. Unbelievable. You know, some teams are doing it to us on purpose. That was not on purpose, and we don't really have a beef, you know, with the Yankees. You know, obviously we have a competitive series with them, you know, going back with the Mariners, with Ken Griffey Jr. and Derek Jeter, you know, obviously way back in the day in the 90s and the early 2000s. But golly, man, you know, we just want to have our guys healthy. We've already had plenty of injuries game in and game out, and Victor is going to try to be positive and just walk it off. What a stud. I mean, pretty soon, you know, again, if you're not too careful, even if you're wearing padding, you know, when it's coming 90 to 100 miles an hour, that can break a bone. That can fracture, you know, a pinky, you know, your wrist, and then your season's over. You've already had J.P. Crawford out for like 2 months, you know, with a similar type of pitch. Hopefully that will be the only one tonight, but I highly doubt it. I'm going to grab a little mitt pad here for when he slides. It looks like an oven mitt. And he's trying to shake off a little bit of that rust. You know, that cartilage that probably got released from his bones after getting hit by that baseball, 95 to 100. All right, we need some payback here. Come on now. Next up, center fielder, Julio Rodriguez. Let's go, J-Rod. Try to dance up, baby. Let's go. Julio's been on fire as of late. He's brought that electricity to the lineup that we've really needed. You know, we've even seen Julio have a couple games, you know, 3 for 5, 4 for 5. A little unusual. Back when he was really good in his rookie year and last year. career versus Louise Hill, 0 for 2, but spelled G-I-L, but pronounced H-I-L-L. I have to do a lot of research before I go into every game because I always have these weird things where it's like, check, make sure, because you want to make sure that everything is correct. And I just had a weird kind of thing where I need to go to the Yankees website and listen to the team, name pronunciation, because you just never know. It could be spelled G-I-L, and you go in here saying Louise Gill, and then they say it's Hill, and you look like a dummy. So you got to do your research. 2-0 Yankees, bottom of the first. Runner at first, Victor Robles got hit on the knuckles by Louise Hill. No relation to Bobby and Hank, even though I'm waiting for that new show to be able to come out with that new cartoon. Bobby Hill will be like 2021. It's going to be amazing if you're a fan of King of the Hill, even though they've had a couple cast members pass away. I think one at least, maybe two. So it's not going to be everyone, but still will be good. Julio Rodriguez in the box, 2 balls and 1 strike. Let's go, J-Rod. You've been very good as of late. 2-1 pitch, chops that one foul as they try to jam him inside. 2 balls and 2 strikes. And I think everyone, anyone that's a fan of King of the Hill, it's been a minute since the last time they, aired episodes. So it's about time for a rebirth and a reboot, baby. Let's go. Bottom of the first, 2-0 Yankees. Runner at first, Robles. Nobody out. 2-2 pitch from Hill to Julio. Pitch is outside. 3 balls and 2 strikes. Julio, for a split second, almost swung at that. He'll be swinging at that garbage, Julio. Come on, baby. Patience, baby, patience. Three balls and 2 strikes to Hill, to Rodriguez. Julio right down the middle. Looks like Austin Wells got a little bit of a deflection off Julio's bat there. All right, we're at 14. 6 more likes to get to 20. If you're in the room and haven't smashed that like button yet, please do. Help your boy out. Come on, Julio. 3 balls and 2 strikes, 3-2 pitch. Julio pops up. Should be a routine play and flight out to right, 1 away. Next up for the Mariners, catcher, big dumper, Cal Raleigh. And we could definitely use a tridents up, obviously tonight, or tomorrow. We don't need to get greedy. Obviously, it would be great if he could homer in back-to-back games to kind of set the tone and get us back into this game. And a lot of his damage will be done in the 7th inning and beyond. But as of late, he has been crushing a few home runs and getting a few RBIs and big hits within the first 4 innings. So that is a good sight to see. First pitch is outside to big dumper, 213 average, 30 homers, 93 ribbies, and about to lead catchers in MLB in home runs again for the 3rd year in a row, I believe, for Cal Raleigh. 1-0 pitch. Pitch is inside, low at the knees. 2 balls and no strikes. Pitch is outside. 3 balls and no strikes. It's kind of funny, especially with the Chiefs, you can get in trouble, with the law. They can cut you, or they can trade you, or you can go and just go to another team if your contract is up. But have you noticed a lot of Chief players, once they leave, They don't have the success that they had there, obviously. And then when they come back, they end up, kind of having a rebirth in their career to somewhat of a degree. They may not be the same player as they were, but at least they're in a period of time where they might be able to win a championship again. Like, I don't think Juju is anything. He fell off the face of the earth. McCole Hardman slightly has some game. He can do punt returns, kick returns, but he's so far down the depth chart, you don't really notice him that much. But with Kareem Hunt, with the Pacheco injury, he might be able to step in, and we might see flashes of the old, Kareem Hunt from 6 years ago. I don't think it's going to be that same type of player, but again, familiarity with the head coach and the playbook obviously is going to be something that they would rather do with a former player than someone brand new or a rival and trying to teach someone the new ways, the Chief Kingdom ways. So it'll be interesting. Fantasy will be very interesting here tonight and obviously next week. And we don't really know what we're going to be getting out of some of these athletes, but I assume he'll go from practice squad to the starting lineup very soon. Probably has to get with Andy, Pat, go through the lineups, go through the different, playbooks, iPads and everything, and they can go from there. Now they're having a mound visit here. Randy Arozarena is next. And Randy did something very unusual in that last matchup against Texas. He actually backed away from the batter's box 3 times in a row, and then finally on the 4th one got the pitch right down the middle and went for a big home run, a big dinger. And again, I've never seen Randy does it on the regular, but I've never seen a guy back up out of the batter's box 3 times in a row. I've seen it once or twice, but not 3 times. And then on the 4th pitch, boom, see you later. Elliot in the building, what's good? Hell yeah, Megan. I'm proud of you. Matt got his first win in a couple years, right? Again, Reflect beat me. I ended up getting the 2nd lowest score of the week, so it shows you, you can be the hardest working person and going through all of this, preparation, but that doesn't mean that the players are going to end up getting it done, or you might have an injury during the game like I did with Cooper Kupp. And again, when you have injuries in game, a lot of times you end up losing, because you are anticipating 15 to 20 points or more. You get 7. Maybe some of the other guys shit the bed. You're playing arguably the best player in the league other than a couple others. The person that won the championship last year. So again, you can have the lineup, but you don't really understand or know for sure if anyone's going to make it all the way through, beginning to end, without getting injured. And sometimes players overachieve. And unfortunately, sometimes they underachieve and they just don't get the ball enough. And then you get a bad score and you lose. Pitches outside to Randy Arozarena. 3 balls and 1 strike. You beat the Stros. Thank you. Yesterday, appreciate that. Yeah. Even though you got red matchups, you can still score big points. It's just saying that it's not a good matchup. But it doesn't mean it's impossible for that player to still get it done. And steps out of the box, and that's a walk for Randy Arozarena, doing the same thing that he did in the previous game, except not a home run. But we got bases loaded now, baby, against Louise Hill. Next up, right fielder, Nuke Rayleigh. We got bases loaded in the bottom of the 1st after giving up 2 runs and a bunch of hits, and we're about to match what they just did to us, hopefully here with Luke Rayleigh. If he can end up getting a bases clearing double, or if he can end up getting a 2-run RBI double and we have guys at 2nd and 3rd, that would be great. I don't assume we're going to get get out the mustard and rye bread, grandma, it's a grand salami, but we got 5 grand salamis this season. It would be fantastic, but I feel that would be a little greedy in the 1st inning. You don't want to be greedy. The sports gods are always, watching. Just like I mentioned in the live stream yesterday when the Eagles were in the red zone on their first drive and they had a chip shot of like a 20-yard field goal. They passed on it. They went for it on 4th down and they didn't get it. And I mentioned to everyone that if they end up passing on this easy field goal, they're probably going to end up losing by 1, 2, or 3. And that's exactly what happened at the game. Popped up to Jazz Chisholm, 2 away. You'll always take the points when they're there. And it's funny because people always assume the points will be there later in the game for you to make up for it, but that's not the case. And the Falcons ended up winning by 1 point. And if the Eagles just would have kicked that field goal early on instead of getting greedy and trying to get a touchdown, they would have beat the Falcons. So again, Nick Sirianni, you're probably going to get fired within a year or 2. At least I would. They need to be able to fix that because, again, that type of mentality, you're not going to win a championship by playing that way. Not in the NFL. Bottom of the first, 2-0 Yankees, bases loaded with 2 outs. Next up is Justin Turner. And I believe the Eagles are 2-9 going back from last year. So not very good, after starting off the year 9-1, 10-1. They have fucking imploded, and they don't have arguably probably the most important player on the team anymore in Jason Kelce. People are starting to realize, damn, when you have a Pro Bowl, All-Pro, Hall of Fame center, and then all of a sudden he retires, you're fucked. Pitches inside to Justin Turner, almost at his face. 3 balls and no strikes. Come on, JT. Yes, baby. Steal home. Yeah, baby. Oh. End of the first inning. Robles tries to steal home. I was wondering what the hell was going on there. He tried to pull a fast one on the pitcher, and he's already like 40. Wow. I can't believe that. I mean, I get it. Robles, trying to be, man, again, suicide squeeze, stealing home, bunting. I love these things. But again, I think right there, we tried to pull a fast one, and realistically, Justin Turner would have gotten struck out or popped up or ground out, in my true belief. That would have been super exciting if that was safe, because we haven't really done that all year. And of course, Victor Robles has got the speed, but unfortunately, the pitcher, Hill, caught on right at the last second. Great throw, and he was out. I thought for a split second he was safe, but after seeing the replay there, he was out, and we end up leaving bases loaded, stranded. Chaotic baseball for the Mariners. I want to say that I'm angry about that, but I'm not, because, again, if we would have ended up converting on that, that would have been huge Uncle Mo and momentum. And, again, if we were going to try that, that would have been the time to do it all year. Again, because I don't think Justin Turner was going to get a grand slam or an RBI. I think it would have ended 2-0 anyways. I mean, we don't know that for sure, but I kind of have a feeling. Turner normally will do more damage later in the game. But unfortunate end of circumstances there, but great defense by the Yankees. 2-0 New York. Let's see who's up next for the Yanks. Next up for the Yankees, first baseman Anthony Rizzo. Batting second, shortstop Oswaldo Cabrera. And batting third in the 9-hole, left fielder Alex Verdugo. Like, sub, donate, comment, share. If you haven't smashed that like button yet, please do. We're trying to get 20 in the first hour, 30 to 50 overall. So if you could help with that, that would be greatly appreciated. And obviously, we'll be shooting for 100 in the donos on every single stream. We're at 14. We need 6 more to get to 20. And we got 36 in the room. It takes 1 second to smash the like button. If you don't want to comment in the chat or share it, that's totally fine. Again, smashing that like button will get more people here and help the algorithm. So now we're at 15. 5 more to go to hit 20 in the first hour. Thank you, guys. I appreciate you. Yeah, it could have ended up being a walk. I think that was, it could have been a strikeout, pop-up, ground out. I think it probably would have ended up being a strikeout or possibly, an automatic run coming in by a walk. But again, we're never going to know because, he had his head down the whole time, and Victor has that speed. And I think if Victor runs that play, 8 times out of 10, I think he would have been safe. But that was that 1 or 2 times where he tried to pull a fast one. And again, it's not like we convert on bases loaded often anyways, but that one does sting a little bit, just with the thought, what would have happened? Could we have gotten 1, 2, 3, 4 runs, in that inning if that would have been safe, or if he just would have stayed at third and maybe Turner would have been able to do some magic? We don't know. We'll never know. Top of the second, but at least it's not like demoralizing, like the game is over. We tried to pull a fast one. They caught us. And again, we're very engaged. I mean, we ended up getting bases loaded in the first inning. How often does that happen against a good team? And we got Brian Wu on the mound, so I still think we're in it. 1-1 pitch to Anthony Rizzo. Big swing and a miss. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Yeah, congratulations, you and Reflect. You know what's crazy? I've never lost a game within the first 2 weeks in fantasy besides this year. But when you go against the person that won the championship last year, we both had shitty weeks. We both had injuries in game with Cooper Kupp and Joe Mixon. But his team ended up having more hits. I had 4 duds. AR got me only 9. Trash. Mike Evans, 7. Trash. Cooper Kupp, 7, trash, and an injury, and I might not have him for a whole month or longer. That's great. And Sam Laporta with a 3. I can't win with 4 guys, with 9 or less. Big swing and a miss, but you got to give credit where credit's due. You got to do the best at setting your lineup. Sometimes it works, and sometimes it doesn't. Down goes Rizzo. Nice job by Wu with the punch out. Nice job, Brian. Next up for the Yankees, shortstop Oswaldo Cabrera. Yeah, I mean, like I said, depending on the team, like with Zini, Megan, you, Captain Oreo, Elliot, and a few of the others, as long as your guys hit, anything is possible, and again, it'll be a good matchup. Like, hell, I beat Reflect twice last year in the regular season, but I lost in the championship, and I could have won if I didn't make the wrong substitutions. I had enough points on my team with the right players, but I made a last-minute substitution with a couple of my guys, and I suffered the consequences, and I lost the championship because I ended up wanting to win it with Baker and Mike Evans against the Panthers, and they didn't score any touchdowns, and I didn't think that would happen. I thought they would at least, put up a couple, even if Mike didn't get, both, but I thought I would be able to win that way, and, instead of going to like Nick Mullins, the backup quarterback for the Vikings, it would have been weird winning the fantasy championship with Nick Mullins. But that's lessons that you learn. Sometimes you have to go with people that aren't your favorites, that may not be on your team, and you got to be able to go with your gut. And if you go against your gut, sometimes you'll end up winning, but other times you'll end up, losing the championship in fantasy. So, and I don't know how many people would have went with Nick Mullins over Baker Mayfield, but, sometimes those are the decisions and those hard things that happen that have to be done. So that way I learn. So if I get in that same situation again, that I have to be able to trust my gut based on the matchup and the defense and just pray that it works out. Top of the second, 2-0 Yankees. Nobody on with 2 outs. Another punch out there by Wu. Nice job, Brian. Next up, Oswaldo Cabrera, Don, Alex Verdugo up, the former Boston Red Sox. But this is the first time I think we've had in the first 2 weeks only 2 teams that are 2-0. Very rare. And again, this is like the most competitive that I've seen it on the channel in about 8 years since we've started it. So a lot of teams that are 1-1. I think we only have 2 teams that are 0-2. So there's going to be a lot of back and forth, and you're going to have to be able to manage your team very well this year because there's more injuries to superstars in the first 2 weeks than I can remember. Normally in the first month, we're like, God damn it, and every team has got a person or 2. But so far, there's a couple teams that are unscathed. Reflect and I think Megan for the most part, but everyone else has been hit pretty hard. Some teams hit with 4 or 5 guys that are out. Verdugo with a little base knock to Randy Arozarena in left field. But I just, I wasn't anticipating Cooper Kupp and Christian McCaffrey like my number one. Hard to be able to, get the maximum when your number 1 running back and number 1 wide receiver get hurt. But, at least it's not season ending, and hopefully I can finish strong, even if I end up losing 1, 2, 3, 4 times, during the regular. Top 4 teams make it into the playoffs. Next up for the Yankees, Gleyber Torres. But I am proud of everyone in the, in the actual league. Everyone has played well. Obviously, we've have a couple that are a little bit behind the 8 ball, but hopefully things will get a little bit better. Top of the second, 2-0 Yankees. Runner at first with 2 outs. 1 for 1 with a single and a run in the first. Gleyber Torres. Torres pops up. And that one's a bloop right in front of Luke Raley. And Gleyber Torres goes 2 for 2. Next up, right fielder Juan Soto. Let him know. Yes, sir. Yeah, and also I saw a couple ESPN, NFL, and PFF power rankings, and these are so ridiculous. The Seahawks, the Bucks, and a few of these other teams are so disrespected, as you can see Paisley's tail in the background here behind me. Some have the wrong teams, but the top 10 is more correct. And then there's other ones that it's just ridiculously wrong and almost laughable. Like, if you don't have the Saints or the Bucks in the top 10 or the Hawks, based on how they've played, then the list is not even worth me looking at. But again, a lot of these lists, they might have the Saints in the top 10, but some I've seen, they had the Saints and the Seahawks out of the top 10. I've seen one where they had the Bucks number 3, which is a nice gesture, but I'm not sure if that's the truth, if we're that good, but I'll take it for now. But, to see certain teams like the Saints, kind of in the middle, and the Hawks like 20th, 21st, that's ridiculous. The Seahawks, the Saints, and the Bucks are all top 10 teams right now. And if we're really being honest, those 3 teams, you could argue, are all top 5 teams right now, based on how we're playing right now. So again, if they can't, appreciate, what is going on right now, that shows me that they're not watching the games. They're just doing it based off team fan base and popularity, but again, they always do that to be able to trigger an audience where they end up having a few teams a lot lower in the rankings just to get your reaction. But some of them are like ridiculous. I think the Seahawks are the most disrespected team in the NFL right now. They are easily top 10. I see them playing very well and matching up to the Niners for the division. If they don't win it, they'll get second place, but they could win it this year. How in the hell is a 2-0 team 21st or 22nd? And you got a bunch of teams that are 1-1 that aren't really very good, at this point ahead of them. Ridiculous. But again, it is what it is. We'll prove the haters wrong. Top of the second, 2-0 Yankees. Runners at first and second with 2 outs. And it shows you the media bias, across the country. It's about all sports, baseball, basketball, football, hockey. They love to be able to tap into the history. But just because the team's got a great history doesn't mean that they're great this year. There's a difference. You got to be able to watch the games and see what's going on instead of just like, well, traditionally this team isn't very good, so I'm going to make them 21 or 28 or 27, and I'm going to have these other teams that are more popular ahead of them just because I think they're more popular. It's dumb. Pitches inside, 3 balls and 2 strikes to Juan Soto. Yes, I agree with that too. They do make it based off last year as well. 100%. Stuart in the building, what's good? Yes, absolutely. Stacks on stacks, racks on racks, little Cactus Jack, bang, bang. $5 holla, 95 to go. And again, even if they had the Seahawks at 11 to 15, I would still say that's still low, but again, it's much better than the 21, 22 on like ESPN and some of the others. .41 pitches for Wu, not the best outing for him. 3-2 pitch, and he walked him. Uh-oh. Let me know what you want to do for photos once we get into commercial break, and I'll get you some. Juan Soto, now they have bases loaded. Man, it's just like bases loaded. What the hell is going on in this game? It's like we got 2 good pitchers in Brian Wu and Louise Hill. Wu, 8-2, 2.38 ERA. Hill, 13-6, 3.18 ERA. So it's like both guys got ERAs of 2 and 3, 8 wins, 13 wins. I don't understand why the hitters are just going crazy today, but now we got Aaron Judge up, and as everyone knows, if Aaron Judge connects, this will be a grand salami, and there won't be any doubt about that. We can't come back from 6-0, unfortunately. I guess we could, but based off today, I highly doubt it. Because you would assume the pitching will be worse after Wu goes out. Yeah, we got Nestor Cortez tomorrow, so I'm excited about that. That little hezzy that he does in between his delivery always fools the hitters. I believe we got Bryce Miller against him tomorrow, so that'll be fun. And hopefully Giancarlo will be playing tomorrow if he doesn't pinch hit later today. 1-for-1 with a 2-run double in the first. And obviously, even though I'm a Mariner fan, I got a love and appreciation for Aaron Judge, as well as guys like Shohei Ohtani. I love greatness. And a couple years back when I did go to the Mariner game, I got an Aaron Judge ball. So anytime you can get an Aaron Judge baseball in the year where he hits 62 homers and breaks records, again, it made me even more of a fan of Aaron Judge. Ended up getting, a rookie card auto graded because of that experience with the ball. And again, I will be rooting for him to be the modern day Mickey Mantle as far as, baseball lore and icons go. Very exciting to be able to see a player like Aaron Judge that could have played in any generation. 1-1 pitch from Wu to Judge. Low at the knees, got him to bait on that one. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Like, you're not going to see too many Aaron Judge, Shohei Ohtani type of players. I mean, we're talking about once in a generation. And it might be more than one generation. It might be 2. Like, Judge and Ohtani might be players that we see only once every 50 to 100 years. And I truly believe that. These guys are not normal. And it's awesome for baseball to know that these guys are not doing PEDs. They're not doing steroids. They're not working or at Balco. And they're doing it based off this genetic freak athleticism, timing, and skill set. 1-2 pitch. It also helps that you're built like a linebacker, both of them. And then there's another RBI for Aaron Judge. That's all he does is hit home runs and gets RBIs. He brought in 2 runs in the first, and he does it again. 2 runs in the second. This guy is ridiculous. 4-0 Yankees. Stop playing with my guy, Brian Wu, damn it. Next up, catcher Austin Wells. Not the start that the Mariner fans were hoping for, but since we did get bases loaded in the first inning, that is a good sign that we might be able to come back. We might not win, but it kind of still feels like we're going to put up runs today. But if they continue to keep putting up 2 runs or more every inning, we're never going to catch them. They're going to be at 10 to 14 while we're at 4. So, we got to be able to slow it down here. Come on now. Austin Wells. I think Ohtani better than Ruth, because if you go back to look at Babe Ruth's pitching stats, he wasn't really that good. He was kind of average. He was a guy that no one else really did it back then. But he was just an average pitcher. Ohtani has a chance to be top 5 or top 10 every year. At the very worst, top 15. Babe Ruth couldn't say that back in the day. So I feel that, if it was like, Babe Ruth had the pitching like a Sandy Koufax, back then, and he's the hitter, then you're probably never touching. And Ohtani is like right there with Babe, or, it's kind of neck and neck. But, Ohtani has a chance to, be this generation's Babe Ruth for sure. And then you got Aaron Judge, kind of being the Joe DiMaggio, Mickey Mantle, Roger Maris, big name, for the home run hitter and the icon, obviously, in New York after Derek Jeter. Yankees are always in good hands. Realistically for us to be able to make it, it's not good. We're 77 and 73. We have been playing better as of late. We did lose a lot of games that were winnable in the early and in the middle of the season. Anything is possible, and we do have a chance, but it's probably pretty small. I would probably say like 5 to 10%, that we make it. But again, 5 to 10% is better than a 0, but I'm at least being realistic. But if we would have won games that we were supposed to against like the Athletics and the Angels and the White Sox, and we're a little bit more competitive against like the Royals and the Twins and the Guardians and Yankees and Orioles, and just being more consistent and not hitting that dead space before we fired Scott Service, at that point we would still be like 10 games above 500 right now, maybe 7 or 8 more wins, and that's, that could have been it. Got him. Nice punch out there by Brian Wu, but you gave up 2 runs to Aaron Judge in the first, 2 runs to Aaron Judge in the second. He's got 4 RBIs in the first 2 innings, and it's 4-0 Yankees. Not ideal. And this is one of the worst starts that Brian has had. But let's be honest, almost anybody going against the Yankees, even if you got Skubal, Sale, even Skeens, you're still going to get roughed up from time to time because this is the fucking Yankees, right? And they don't even have Giancarlo in, which is crazy too. Shows you how good they are when they're on. And they've always traditionally hit well. I've gone to see the Yankees in Seattle 3 times. So I've got to see Giancarlo, hit a game-winning home run. I've seen Judge I've gotten a Judge ball. I've seen Judge homer, when he had his 62 home run, record-breaking season. When the ball gets hit by Aaron Judge, the ball sounds different, on the swing with the bat compared to anyone I've heard. Now, I haven't been able to see Shohei Ohtani in person. That's on my bucket list. I didn't get a chance to see him when he was in the Angels with Trout, but that was something that I wanted, but I never got a chance to, but my friends did. But hopefully I'll be able to see Ohtani on the Dodgers. Obviously, before he retires, I will, and hopefully he'll hit a home run, in Seattle, so I can hear the difference on the Aaron Judge home run ball and how it sounds. It almost sounds like an aluminum bat. Like, I'm not even lying. Like, it's just a crazy sound, and when you hear it, it's gone. Like, there's no chance of it falling short with the wind. Let's go to the bottom of the second, and hopefully we can get some runs here. Let me know what you want to do for photos, Megan, and I got you. Next up, at bat, first baseman Justin Turner, who was in the box when Victor Robles tried to steal home but got caught. Batting second baseman Jorge Polanco. And batting third in the 8-hole, shortstop J.P. Crawford. Come on, Woo. I mean, I could have put Julio on the thumb. I did it for tomorrow. I already got tomorrow's thumb done with Judge and Julio, but I wanted to give the respect to Brian Woo and some of the pitchers. Again, I can always put Julio on every thumb, but I like to mix it up with the pitchers and Cal and a few of the other players to kind of just, understand that it's not going to just be a Julio thumbnail every single time. Bottom of the second, 4-0 Yankees. Hill, 26 pitches in. He's got a 4-0 lead. 4 RBIs by Aaron Judge, 2 in the first, 2 in the second. And again, anytime you can get 2 or 3 guys on and then Aaron Judge comes up, chances are something good's going to happen. Zay in the building. What's good? How are you, bro? What's good, brother? I think the roster, Squid King, is better now, but the 2022 Mariners, obviously were able, to have better play out of Julio, Cal and George. It was the first rookie year, so no one knew really what to expect. So obviously we accomplished more and our team was better in 2022. But if I look at the roster top to bottom, with the pitching staff and, who we have, I think the team now is better, but we just haven't produced the results like we did in 2022. The roster is better, but the team is better back a couple years ago. Because I don't know if we're going to make the playoffs this year. But I know if we do have a chance to upset a team like we did against the Blue Jays for the first time in 20-plus years. And we ended up losing to the Astros. But again, if Robbie Ray doesn't come in, who knows? Maybe we beat the Astros. We were right there. Anytime you can end up playing a game that goes 15, 16, 17, 18 innings, I mean, it could literally go either way. And it's just unfortunate the way that it kind of happened. But normally when you don't make the playoffs in 20-plus years, you don't go all the way the first time you go to the playoffs in 20-plus years. You typically make it, you get your ass kicked, and then the next year you hope that you win a round. But we actually won a round and then, lost to the Astros. So we actually overachieved. Polo? Back. Polo getting back into this game. Gone! There we go. Jorge Polanco. Home run number 15. And sometimes the guy that's least likely to do the damage and be a hero ends up being the guy that ends up fucking up defensively and sometimes in the box, but not right there. Way to bring the electricity. And sometimes those guys that are, love-hate relationship guys like Mitch Garver and Jorge Polanco are the ones that step up the biggest. Nice job, Polo. Way to bring that electricity. 4-1 Yankees. Here we go. And that's what I thought. After, having a bunch of guys on base the first couple innings, JP, throw to first, 2 away. You want to make sure you're responding early. You don't want it to be 4-0 into the 7th inning because we're not going to come back at that point. But if you can just chip away, 4-1, 4-2. Remember the Ranger series. Just chip away, and then hopefully Woo can find his rhythm. He doesn't give up any more, and then by the time that Hill and Woo go out, hopefully it's 4-2 or 4-3 or 5-3, where we're still in range by 1 or 2 runs, and then we have to cross our fingers that the bullpen doesn't fuck it all up. The hitters get hotter later in the game, in the 5th inning and beyond, and then maybe by a miracle we can win this game 5-4 or 6-5. That's kind of the blueprint. But again, just trying to throw it out there. But sometimes, you need to hear it. Sports gods, once they hear it, then they're like, okay, this is an option. Just like when I said on stream, the Eagles were going to end up most likely losing by 1, 2, or 3 by passing up on that field goal on the opening drive, and they literally did. They lost by 1. So again, sports tends to repeat itself. You just need to be able to see the signs, and when you call it out, then a lot of times it happens again. Bottom of the second, 4-1 Yankees. In the box is Hollywood, Josh Rojas. Let's go Hollywood. Chops that one up, and that should stay in play. We're going foul, and dropped. Yes. There we go. Verdugo with the drop, and we'll take that. But good hustle by Alex. No problem. I mean, that's what I do here. I try to give, I got 2 mics because I got to do the work of 2 people. I got to do the play-by-play. I got to do the color. I got to give you stats. I got to give you analytics. I got to give you fun facts. I got to make sure I'm maintaining the chat. I got to be able to put out photos. So again, other streams, they hit record and then that's it. But here I have to fully produce the show on my own, not from someone else. And I got to be able to, hit you guys with the commentary as well. So I appreciate the kind words. And again, I try to provide a broadcast here that is completely different than anybody else on YouTube or on TV or podcast or anywhere else. Bottom of the second, 4-1 Yankees. Hill pitches outside, 3 balls and 1 strike to Hollywood, Josh Rojas. And plus, I like being able to throw up the HD 4K photos. I feel that, it adds another element to the presentation. Rojas, line drive, what a catch. Very Jeter-like, and got him. Wow. The Yankees defense has been fucking phenomenal. They've always had good defenders in the outfield and the infield. We already remember the Derek Jeter era. I ended up watching highlights of Omar Vizquel as well as Ozzie Smith, the Wizard. And these guys in their prime with their gold gloves and the things that they would do, in the infield is mind-boggling. A couple of these plays were very similar to Omar Vizquel or Ozzie Smith or Jeter. Nice job. But at least we cut into the lead, and it's 4-1. And I think as Mariner fans, that's a win. We ended up getting some, guys on base in the first. We got guys on base in the second. We ended up going for that steal at home. I think that normally, that is a bad call, but for this particular game and Robles, I kind of like it. It's maybe that one time that we go for a risk. It didn't work out, but I think it could in the future. And again, hopefully we bunt a couple times. We got to be able to do those extra weird things to win in the chaotic way that we typically do the Seattle Mariners. Okay, I got you. I know your wrist is hurting, so it's normally the regulars, and I know you in and out. Obviously, we've known each other for quite some time, so we know what we like, we know what we don't like. So I'll throw up a couple photos for your dono. We're at 5:95 to go, and again, it could be anything: basketball, baseball, football, hockey, wrestling, an actor, an actress, a singer. It could be a rapper. It could be NASCAR. It could be F1. I mean, it's pretty much whatever your favorite thing is at the moment. Then you let me know, and then I'll take care of you. So we'll do a little Glenn, a little Anson, and I'll hit you with a little bit of Seahawks. Let's go, baby. 2-0. Ravens 0-2. Coincidence? I think not. Of course there's a coincidence there. It's all related. You end up leaving a team, what do you think happens? There is a trickle effect. Appreciate that, Stuart. Top of the third, 4-1 Yankees. Nobody on, nobody out. In the box is Brian Wu. On the mound. In the box is Jazz Chisholm. Stewart with a 5-er. Bigger bag, pitch timer, glove. And the shifting is no longer allowed. Obviously, bigger bags is good for safety. I like that. Pitch clock is good because it makes the games go by quicker. Jazz Chisholm pops up. The Julio, one away. And obviously, checking for substances is good because there is people that like to cheat. Astros and other teams that still try to get away with it. So I do like a lot of the new rule changes. Again, I don't know if we're going to end up having robot umps. More than likely, you're still going to have a human ump, but maybe like a computer screen behind you, like if you're watching the game here where you see the Miller Time ads behind the T-Mobile Park brick sign on the left and the right. They could end up having boards there that are computerized, and then you can end up having like robot ump screens, instead of an actual like C-3PO, standing behind the catcher. You're not going to necessarily have something like that, but you never know. Because it just wouldn't make sense to have like a robot standing behind the catcher. But again, you can have different types of technology. But in the future, maybe we will have like a C-3PO, 50 years from now, and there'll be a robot back there and there won't be actual humans. It'll be all robots at first and third and behind the plate. And obviously we'll have a lot more technology with the screens, and maybe there'll be more updates with like special watches or goggles where we can get in the eyes of the pitchers and the hitters. There's going to be all kinds of stuff. But so far, I like most of the rules that we have here in 2024. 2-1 pitch to Jason Dominguez. Fouls that one. 2 balls and 2 strikes to Dominguez. Just got called up a little bit ago. Center fielder, up-and-coming prospect. And Jasson, not just Jason. 2 S's. 2-2 pitch. Pitch is high and inside. 2 balls and 2 strikes. Now 3 balls and 2 strikes. Count is full. Let's go, Brian. We got to get some more outs here. I appreciate you. Let me know what you want to do for a photo. If you got a favorite player or athlete, and I got you. Let me know. We're at 10, 90 to go. That one popped up foul. 3 balls and 2 strikes. PJ in the building. What's good? Woo. 3-2 pitch to Dominguez. Got him. Little ground out to JT. There we go. 2 away. Next up for the Yankees, first baseman Anthony Rizzo. 0 for 1 with a K. Hopefully 0 for 2. And we're at 22. We need 8 more likes to get to 30. So if you are in the room or you just hopped in and haven't smashed the like button yet, please do. We hit 22 within the first hour, which is great. Now we need 8 more to get to 30. And then hopefully we can hit somewhere between 30 and 50 for the screen. I know Matt dipped, so it looks like Sarah will be taking over. Shout out to Cole, DX, as well as Elliot and a few others for helping out with some of the posts. 0-1 pitch to Rizzo. Big swing and a miss, behind in the count 0-2. Top of the third, 4-1 Yankees. Nobody on with 2 outs. Woo, 64 pitches in. Not really the most ideal outing for him, but he's starting to settle in after those first 2 innings of giving up 2 and 2. Woo, little dribbler, getting his location on point. Throw to Justin Turner, and that is a easy 1-2-3 inning for the Mariners as the sun is setting in Seattle. It is a beautiful town. There's not very many places that I could imagine living other than Oregon, but Seattle would definitely be at the top of the list if I were to move and still live in the Pacific Northwest, and then Eugene probably number 3. Braden in the building. What's good? See who's up here for the Mariners, and hopefully we can get some a nice little rally going here in the third, and maybe we can get another run to make it 4-2 or more. Next up, DHing today, Victor Robles got hit on the knuckles, ended up getting on base, stole home, got caught when we had bases loaded for out number 3. but maybe Victor Robles will drop the bunt down. He's always the wild card where he can do things that other guys in the lineup can't. He's more valuable than Randy Arozarena, and I'm glad that we have Victor Robles in Seattle for the next few years. Batting second, center fielder Julio Rodriguez. We could really, really use one of these today, let me tell you. And batting third, big dumper, catcher Cal Raleigh. Trident's up. Hey, everyone needs a trident in their life. How about these two guys? Let's get it. Let's go Mariners. Let's go. I thought we had a good chance to win here today, and they're bringing in Mitch Garver. Really? I got to get a Mitch Garver photo prepped here. I wonder if there's an injury, because normally we don't have a pinch hitter in the third inning, so something happened. So that means that is Robles out for the game? That's terrible news if that's the case. What the hell's going on here? Robles is out of the game. Fuck! Damn it. And I don't think Garver is the most ideal person I would want to be pitch hitting right here. He got hit by a pitch and then stole home. Big swing and a miss. 1, 2, 3. Easiest strikeout for Hill's life. Down goes Garver. One away. Next up, center fielder Julio Rodriguez. Like, we're going to have Mitch Garver leading off? Golly, come on, Dan Wilson. Anybody but I mean, I know Garb did hit a 3-run blast as of late, and he has been a little bit better in the box, but, you know, couldn't you have him pinch hit later, you know, and have a different type of player? I'm trying to think of who I would want there. You know, if we had Ryan Bliss on the roster, that would be a good spot, you know, to be able to have him. I don't really necessarily think Haniger leading off would be that much better, but then that's kind of the situation that you're kind of hoping that you still have like Tyler Locklear or Ryan Bliss, so that way they could, but pitches outside, 2 balls and 1 strike to Julio. 262 average for Julio, got his numbers up. Home run in 2 of the last 3 games, so it's nice to be able to see Julio Rodriguez getting back to being the fucking Julio Rodriguez that we all love on the Seattle Mariners. The 2-1 pitch to Julio, crushes that one, fair! Let's go! Yes, sir! Go to second, baby! Slide, safe! There we go. Nice job, J-Rod. J-Rod's playing like the J-Rod of 2022 and 2023. Nice for him finally to get back to being the player that we all knew that he could be. 135 hits this season, that leads the team. And he's had a bad year. Imagine if he actually wasn't shitty this year. Maybe he would have 200 hits, you know, or 180 to 200 for sure. 135 in a bad year. Next up, one of my favorite players on the team, big dumper, Cal Raleigh. You know, I'm a big fan of Julio and a big fan of the big dumper. Dumper pops up. And that one goes foul. Thank God. Go, Cal. And we are at 10, 90 to go. A combo of Matt and DX and Sarah helping out with the duties, which I appreciate very much. Let's get to 30 likes. And let's get to 100 in the donos, baby. Bottom of the third, 4-1 Yankees. Runner at second with 1 out. 0-1 pitch. Pitch is outside, but called strike. Behind in the count, no balls and 2 strikes from Hill to Cal. Popped up. Jazz Chisholm was there at third. And that one goes foul. Great souvenir for a fan. I'm a little jealous. I mean, obviously, to be there in person, to be able to see Jazz and Jason Dominguez as Yankee fans. If you obviously you're not seeing Giancarlo Stanton yet. He may pitch it later on, but Yankee lineup definitely got dramatically better when you add Jazz and Dominguez to the lineup with already Juan Soto, Giancarlo Stanton, Judge, Rizzo, Gleyber Torres. I mean, this team could end up making a serious run. But you could say the same thing for like the Phillies and the Dodgers and a few others, but they just have to be hot and healthy. And unfortunately, sometimes these powerhouse teams get a little cold in the postseason. But we'll see if that's the case this year. Maybe it's different. Like imagine a Yankees-Dodgers World Series. I mean, not every fan. I mean, it's like the bandwagon World Series, I guess, but it would be exciting. Obviously it wouldn't be everyone's ideal first choice. I think I would rather see maybe like the Orioles make it to the World Series for like Adley Rutschman and Gunnar Henderson. That would be cool. But if it ends up being, Yankees-Dodgers, it would be very highly rated. West Coast versus East Coast. LA versus New York. It would be very popular. And you have superstars galore, right? Judge, Soto, Stanton, on top of Ohtani, Mookie Betts, Freddie Freeman, Teoscar Hernandez. I mean, it would be must-see TV for sure. Sonics Joe in the building from Brazil. How are you? Bottom of the third, 4-1 Yankees. Runner at second. Pitches high at Cal's face. 3 balls and 2 strikes. No, I've never been to South America. Only been to Oregon, Washington, California, Illinois, Chicago on business, and Japan. That's it. So, the West Coast, Japan, and then in the middle of Midwest for my job for about, 4 or 5 days, 3, 4, 5 days, and that was it. Or maybe it was about a week. I think maybe it was a week because I know we had a hotel room and whatnot. But South America, no. Orioles, Royals, Twins at the head of the AL wild card. Tigers, Mariners, Red Sox battling for a spot. Tigers only 1.5 back. Mariners only 2.5 back. So if we can just continue to play the way that we have, we might be able to get that last spot over the Twins. Maybe. PX is like, I've been to Florida. Does that count? Next up is Randy Arozarena, who's been very uncharacteristic in the box as of late. He's the only hitter on the Mariners that will step out of the box and just take a strike or a ball. But sometimes he does it like 2 or 3 times in a row, and he did that in his last game against the Rangers. He stepped out of the box 3 times in a row on a 3-0 count. And then on that 4th at-bat, right, when he got back into the box, he got a pitch right down the middle and hit a home run into the second deck. So obviously Randy knows what pitch he's looking for, but a very uncharacteristic, type of thing that he does here in the box. Pitches high and outside, 1 ball and 2 strikes. But hell, if it works, as long as you're not fucking striking out, 222 average, 20 homers and 57 ribbies for Randy Arozarena. We got Luke Raley and Randy at 20, and they're going to be shooting for 22 to 25 before the season ends. 1-2 pitch, pitches outside, 2 balls and 2 strikes. Yeah, that's why with the American League, it's so up in the air. There's so many good teams. Orioles, Yankees, Guardians, Twins, Royals. Then you got the Tigers, Red Sox, and Mariners battling. You don't really know who's coming out of the American League. And then obviously in the National League, Phillies and Dodgers are the cream of the crop, but that doesn't mean they're going to get there. They're going to get in, but we don't know if they're going to go all the way. Again, the last 2 teams that have been the best team in the National League haven't made it to the World Series. Braves, Dodgers. It ended up being Phillies, Diamondbacks. So I feel this year's Phillies, Diamondbacks is the Padres. So if the Padres end up beating the Phillies or Dodgers or both, don't be surprised. That's my wild card sleeper team in the National League. Double play, and there's nothing there. 2 away. And I'm not saying that the Brewers and the Braves stink, but to me, I think the Padres, even though their record might not, and the Diamondbacks are starting to get a little hot too, but to me, the Padres are better than the Brewers. I think the Padres would beat them in a 7-game series. If they played the Braves this year, they're not as good as the years from a few years back with injuries, Strider, Acuna. So I feel that if the Padres played a 7-game series against the Braves, they would beat them also. And I honestly think that the Phillies and Dodgers are fearing whoever has to play San Diego, because if San Diego gets hot and healthy with their pitching staff and their hitters, they might be the only team that could beat the Phillies or Dodgers other than themselves. I think those are the 3 best in my opinion. So, and again, the Phillies and Dodgers don't want anything to do with San Diego, specifically the Dodgers, because they already know what it's like to lose to San Diego. The Dodgers are the powerhouse team with Ohtani and Mookie and Freddie and Teoscar, but the Padres match up very, very well to both of those teams. They're not afraid, and they do very well against the American League. So, we don't know how it's going to play out, but if it was going to be like a wild card team or not a favorite, and the Phillies and Dodgers don't make it, don't be surprised if the Padres do. That would be my choice if it's not the Phillies or Dodgers. So, and the American League, who knows? Orioles, Yankees, Guardians, one of those 3 teams is heavily favored, but we don't know. Or it could be the Twins, the Royals, Mariners, if they just get in. We just don't really know, who's going to be able to get hot and healthy at the right time. So, but it kind of feels like maybe Yankees, Orioles are the 2 best, and then Phillies, Dodgers, in the National League. But it doesn't mean that those are going to be the teams that get there. Next up is Luke Raley. He's got runners at first and third, 317 average, and Luke has been fucking nuking it as of late. He's been getting big home runs, big RBIs, and he's got a career high 20 home runs this season with Seattle. Let's go, Luke. I love his hustle and his effort. Big swing and a miss. 1 ball and 2 strikes. We don't usually get guys that hustle on offense and defense and run to first base, like a madman. And that's one thing I like about Luke Raley, and another reason why him and Cal are so close. Let's go, Luke. It's all about effort. 1-2 pitch. Pitch is high. 2 balls and 2 strikes. The one thing that irritates me more than anything is when players don't play hard. They pick and choose when they want to play. Jeffrey with a 5-er. Oh, God. Astros and Dodgers would be terrible. Stacks on stacks, racks on racks, a little cactus jack bang bang. But I do know a lot of people would love that. A lot of people in Texas would love that shit. Dodger fans don't give a fuck who they play, as long as they get there. That's the thing. You got Ohtani, so if you don't win it all, it's a failure. I mean, that's kind of how it goes. For the Yankees, you don't win it, failure. Phillies, you don't win it, failure. Specifically Dodgers and Yankees, though, if you based on their teams and the way they're built. If you get there, you go all the way. And if you don't, the season was a failure. It's like, that's kind of the, kind of like the Bill Belichick mentality when he had Brady and Gronk. It's like, if you're not going all the way, second place is fucking bullshit. So, Luke popped up, and that one is going behind the plate. Go foul. And back into the 10th row. Appreciate you. Stacks on stacks, racks on racks, little cactus jack, bang, bang. Jeffrey with a 5-er. Appreciate your support to the channel as of late. It means a lot. We're at 15. 85 to go. Dodgers do have decent pitching, but the problem with the Dodgers is that they have one of the best pitching staffs in baseball, but they're always hurt. Big swing and a miss. Down goes Luke Raley. Nice punch out there by Hill. But again, it's like if you look at their pitching staff, normally they'll have like 6 quality starters or maybe 7. But by the time they get to the end of the year, sometimes they only have like 2. And 3 of them are like season ending. So it's like they might have 2 guys left that are like returning from injury. Then they have 2 guys that are maybe 500 or above 500. And then typically they got like 3 or 4 guys that are elite, but they're injured. And they have Tommy John or the Achilles tear, blew up, elbow fucking blew up. It's like they have it. But again, that's kind of their issue. Now, as far as being a hitting team, they don't have Ohtani available to pitch because of his UCL, right? So they don't have him as an option either. So, really the hitting is a strong suit for the Dodgers, leading off and, having Shohei Ohtani and then Mookie and Freddie and Teoscar and the rest of the role players like Mad Max Muncy and the others have been playing well. But the one thing that will derail the Dodgers will be pitching. So again, and they haven't been very good. And that's what big reason why they paid the billion dollars, because they know that they can use Ohtani next year. And for them to be able to win the World Series, more than likely, they're going to have to win it in a year that Shohei pitches and hits and stays healthy the full year. Because they're going to need Shohei to be, not necessarily the one, but they're going to need him to be probably one of the top 3 pitchers, 1, 2, or 3. If he's the 4th or the 5th, that would be a blessing. I mean, Shohei Ohtani being the 5th guy in the rotation, that's nasty, but he is a guy that could be a top 10, top 15 pitcher, but he's got the potential in any given year to be top 5. And that's wild. Top 5 hitter, top 5 pitcher, top 10 hitter, top 10 pitcher. It's just not something that you're typically going to see. And it might be the only player that we see that is dominant on both ends in our lifetime. Like we might go 100, 150 years before we see another guy like Ohtani. So MSU in the building. What if in the building? Let's go, Brian. Top of the 4th, 4-1 Yankees. Not the ideal start for Brian Wu. Gave up 2 RBIs on bases loaded to Aaron Judge in the first, and then 2 RBIs to Aaron Judge and 2 runs in the second. But since then, he's calmed down. That it's kind of the Aaron Judge effect. I mean, the lineup is very good. And now we got fucking Robles injured again. So, adversity is what we have to go through, and it's always chaotic ball, for the Mariners. Orlando Cabrera strikes out. There we go, 1 away. Excuse me, Oswaldo Cabrera, not Orlando, or whatever the hell I just said. Oswaldo Cabrera, see you later. Osvaldo. I mean, there's all of them. Next up, left fielder Alex Verdugo, the former Boston Red Sox. And you guys are getting hot, right at the right time. Obviously both of us are ahead of the Red Sox now, and it may come down to one of our 2 teams possibly stealing a spot and maybe knocking off the Twins, at late. Someone's going to get that last spot. Twins, Tigers, Mariners. Who's it going to be? Nobody knows. Unless the Royals start going on a losing streak too, and maybe both of those teams dip out. Wouldn't that be crazy? If the Royals and Twins go on a big losing streak and then the Tigers and Mariners both get in, that would be the craziest shit ever. Top of the 4th, 4-1 Yankees. Nobody on with 1 out. I know we can get Verdugo as well. So Robles got hit on the knuckles in the first inning. Then he ended up going on base and shaking it off because he's a fucking stud, but he was already coming off another injury. He was supposed to play tomorrow, not today, so they DH'd him. Then he ended up trying to steal home, in the bottom of the first, got caught, and then they ended up bringing in Mitch Garver, and he's not coming back. So hopefully we get Robles back tomorrow. But again, it just seems like certain pitchers have been targeting Victor Robles and Randy Arozarena intentionally or unintentionally. But our guys are starting to get hurt, especially if you're throwing at guys' wrists or their fingers. We already have JP with a broken pinky out for 2 months, month and a half. So kind of unfortunate. We're trying to get hot at the right time, and the other teams are trying to injure us. Top of the 4th, 4-1 Yankees. Nobody on. Wu right down the middle to Gleyber Torres. 1 ball and 1 strike. And I'll be live tomorrow, same time, same place, 6:30 Pacific, game number 2. We're going to end up having Nestor Cortez with that little hezzy, with the way that he pitches, very nasty, and I believe it's Bryce Miller. So we're going to have a chance, and Bryce has been pretty good as of late. So, I would say lately, Wu and Miller have been better than Gilbert and Kirby. So even though Gilbert and Kirby are popular and Wu and Miller are kind of up and coming, as of late, Wu and Miller, have been, a little bit better. So hopefully Miller can bring his Miller time, and, everyone will be drinking 40s at the end of the night. One-two pitch to Gleyber Torres from Wu, right down the middle. Luke Raley is there, and he misses it. Fuck, Luke! And that's a ground rule double. Fucking A. That one looked like he might have been able to get it. Again, if he would have dove for it and missed, it would have been an inside the park home run. But it just seemed like if he would have full extended, he might have been able to make like a Ken Griffey Jr., Julio Rodriguez type of play, but just a little bit too far out of position, and he just kind of stuck his left mid out there, and he didn't dive for it. I don't think he would have gotten it anyways. It was about 2 feet in front of him, and that one goes into the stands, into the outfield. I've been watching baseball and following sports and wrestling since '85, so I'm very familiar, with all the players. That's why I feel like, putting up the photos for the visiting team and the home team is good, because not only does it educate me, when they have new lineup changes and newbies that get called up like Jason Dominguez, but it also it matches a face to a name, depending on if you're watching along or not. And you want to be able to learn about the league. And that's why I feel, I got a good grasp on what's going on for baseball, basketball, football, and hockey with all the film study and all the articles. Next up is Juan Soto. Back, gone. And Juan Soto, see ya. 6-1 Yankees. This one is over. Hopefully tomorrow will be better. This is one of the worst outings for Brian Wu, our best pitcher. The Yankees are ridiculous, and when they end up having players like Torres, Soto, Judge, Chisholm, Dominguez, and I haven't even talked about Giancarlo Stanton. Sometimes, even when you got a guy that's the best pitcher on the team, that's got an 8-2 record and a 2.38 ERA, sometimes you're going to scream in joy, and other times you're going to scream like this in frustration. And then going into the game, we were like this. How are we going to do? And now we are in the top of the 4th inning, and Brian Wu is like this. Chris Farley to the biscuit. It is not good. 6-1 Yankees. Nice job, New York. They're the real deal, man. Yankee fans always show up in Seattle heavy. Like when I ended up getting my Aaron Judge ball in the 62 home run career year, Yankee fans they got money too. There was like an 80-year-old guy that had a Mitchell & Ness Mickey Mantle jersey in front of me. And when I ended up getting the Aaron Judge ball, people were offering me $200 to $300 for it. But there's no way I'm going to give up an Aaron Judge ball. I mean, to get a baseball by even a jobber or, anybody is hard. But to be able to get it from literally one of the, legends in the game, there's no way in hell that I was going to sell it or give it away. Top of the 4th, 6-1 Yankees. Nobody on with 2 outs. Brian Wu, just ran into the Yankees. And George Kirby is from New York, and every time it seems like he pitches against the Yankees, this type of shit happens as well. They are a very good team. 2-1 count to Aaron Judge. And Judge isn't even playing in goddamn center. He's fucking DHing. But it shows you how powerful he is. He doesn't even need to fucking play defense. They could just literally have him DH. Same thing with Ohtani. They're so good. I mean, if they need defense, they can get it. And Judge can cover a lot of ground. He's an amazing athlete for a guy that's like 6'5 to 6'8, that's built like a linebacker, but runs like a safety. He's ridiculous. Wu gets Judge swinging that garbage, but the damage is done by Juan Soto, and the Yankees are up 6-1. I still think we have a chance to get to 4, but I don't think we're winning today. That's just being honest. And then obviously going into tomorrow, if we can get off to a better start tomorrow, hopefully Robles will be playing and Miller can pitch a little bit better, and hopefully we can win tomorrow like 5-4. It's going to take a fucking miracle to come back, and we're going to have a monster inning of 2 to 4 runs in the next 4 innings to come back. And I just don't know if we're going to score 2 to 4 runs in the next 4 innings. I hope we do, but it's not looking too pretty right now. Nice job, Yankees. All right, let's see what's going on here and who's up next for Seattle. Next up for the Mariners, 0-for-1 with a K, former Dodger, Red Sox, and Blue Jay, first baseman Justin Turner. Batting second, 1-for-1 with a run and an RBI, second baseman Jorge Polanco. And batting third, 0-for-1, shortstop J.P. Crawford. Let's go. Stats, analytics, photos, play-by-play, color. You get it all here, baby. Let's go. Like, sub, donate, comment, share. If you haven't smashed that like button yet, please do. Are we at 30 yet? Hopefully we're somewhere between 25 and 30. I don't know if we're at 30 yet, though. If I had to take a guess, I would assume 25 to 27. We're at 22. All right, so we're a little bit behind the 8 ball. Now we're at 23. We need 7 more to hit the goal for the stream. I don't think that's asking too much. 7 more to hit 30. Let's get there, baby. And like I mentioned multiple times on the stream, make sure you guys are taking care of your mental health. Addiction, depression, anxiety. These are not only things that I've battled, but I know some of y'all are going through it now or have in the past. If you're slipping into the darkness, make some minor adjustments to your daily routine. Exercise, eat healthier, right? Listen to music. Do basic little things to make your day better. And if you do that, you'll come out the other side and win the day. Big facts. 0-1 pitch. Justin Turner. Floater into right field, over his head. Juan Soto plays that wrong, and Justin Turner gets a stand-up double. There we go. That might be an error on Juan Soto, but we'll take it. Paisley's in the building. Hi, Paisley. Next up is Jorge Polanco. Nice job, JT. Let's go, Polo. You already got one of these. Can you be a hero and do it again? And it kind of feels like if we were going to come back in this game, we would have to have like Polo hit another home run. It feels like that type of game where you're going to have to get a little extra. And, you know, we don't really hit a lot of grand slams. We got 5. We don't hit a lot of multi-homer, type of games. Cal's done it a couple times. We had Demo do it once. It's not often. JP, I think, did it once. But you don't really have guys that can hit 2 home runs in a game. Cal's done it 2-3 times. But if Polo can hit another home run, not here, but, later, maybe we'll be able to come back. We need to be able to have our X factors that have already did something do more. And down he goes with strike number 3. Kind of had a feeling it wouldn't be right there. Polo's not a guy to stay hot. It's kind of sporadic. Next up, shortstop, 0 for 1, J.P. Crawford. We're at 15, 85 to go. Yeah, that's if there is, one bugaboo about Soto is that his defense is not the greatest, but he makes up for it, with his hitting for sure. Classic base hits, RBIs and clutch home runs, and the swagger and the aura. The team feels different this year. Last year, they were the Yankees, but you knew they weren't going to win the World Series or get there. This year, with that extra pop in the bat, JP all the way to the wall and caught in the warning track, 2 away. But with Soto, it feels like the Yankees might be able to make the World Series this year, or at least the ALCS if the matchups, line up right. But if the Yankees go up against a team like the Astros, they could lose. So it kind of depends on how these teams line up. Like, who do the Orioles play? Do they play the Guardians, or do they play, someone else like the Astros? Whoever plays the Astros, if they make it, is kind of fucked. So again, if you're the Yankees, you don't want to play them. If you're the Guardians and Orioles, you don't want to play them until the ALCS. Then, you can battle it out. But you don't want to play a team like the Astros or the Padres early, because if you do, you might lose. Which is outside. 2 balls and no strikes to Hollywood Josh Rojas. Come on, Mariners. Popped up. Jason Dominguez is there. And we leave one stranded. End of the 4th inning, 6-1 Yankees. Let's see who's up here next for New York. Next up for the Yankees, 0 for 2 with 2 Ks, catcher Austin Wells. Batting second, 0 for 2, third baseman from the Marlins, Jazz Chisholm. And batting third, 0 for 2, center fielder, recently called up to the big leagues, Jason Dominguez. And people have been talking about Dominguez for years, but it just took a little while for him to get called up. But as you can look at his stature, he looks like a guy that will be able to get hits, home runs, RBIs, and he's got, some good defensive ability, obviously out there in center field when Judge is DHing. Let's go Mariners. Down by 5. Not ideal. Yes, they call him the Martian. And then I believe his dad was a big leaguer as well from back in the day when I was a kid and when you were a kid as well. I appreciate that. Thank you so much for your kind words of encouragement. And hopefully, I've earned a sub from you. And again, at one point, maybe I'll even, get on that little dono train through some of the newbies and whatnot. Anytime you can get likes and shares and subs and donos and just support in general in the chat, it's amazing. So thank you so much. And again, there's a lot of people, I won't say a lot, there's a lot of people that do NFL streams, but there's not as many on YouTube that do basketball, hockey, baseball, NASCAR. It's not as many as the NFL. But again, if you go and watch other baseball streams, everyone does it, kind of a different way. But again, I feel that here we put in a lot of work. There's a lot of energy that's put in here for you guys, and not only for you guys, but for me, because I like to be able to see the HD 4K photos. I like to be able to inform and educate. And obviously, we're fanatics here. We're not average. We're fanatics. Top of the 5th, 6-1 Yankees. Nobody on, nobody out. Brian Wu still out there. 4 innings pitched, 8 hits, 6 runs, 1 base on ball, and 7 Ks. And that's not good. That's not what we expect out of Brian Wu. Brian Wu has been our best pitcher this year. 8-2 record, 2.38 ERA. So this is just one of those outings where everything went right for the Yankees, and we're not able to hit today, which is no surprise, but we have been a better hitting team lately, and it's just, running into the Yankee train. And sometimes when you run into the Yankee train and they just keep running you over and over and over, it's hard to be able to get back up. But, the game's not over yet, but it's getting there. We're down 5. We need to cut this to 6-3 by the 8th inning. And if we can do that, we will have a very small chance to be able to make a run late. But it kind of feels like we might cap out at 4. And if that, we might end the game on just with 1, right? But it feels like the most we can get is maybe 4. And the Yankees might not be done. They might be able to get to 8, 9, or 10, depending on who we have in the bullpen coming in after Wu. Because if Wu is giving up 6, what's our bullpen going to give up? 10? So I don't know what's going to happen, but hopefully it's not ugly. We got a great community here. We broke 4.1 million views, a month and a half ago. We're at 20,500 and some change. So we're definitely moving in the right direction here. Wells, Julio is there. 1 away. Popped out to center. And we went from, 2,000 regular watchers a month to 5,000 within just a few weeks. So I do reaction videos for the NFL, NFL live streams, college football live streams with the Ducks. We'll do Kraken for the NHL, full-time, obviously, on the NFL, full-time for the Mariners, full-time for the Ducks, full-time for the Kraken, and then Sunday, Monday, and Thursday night football. And we also do WWE pay-per-views once a month. And once WWE Raw, Monday Night Raw goes to Netflix, we'll be doing Monday Night Raw live streams too. So we're going to be very, very busy here. And then down the road, we may end up going back to doing NASCAR streams. But again, sometimes I have to, pick and choose what main event to do each day. Jeffrey with a 5. Oh, really? Wow. Stacks on stacks, racks on racks, little Cactus Jack, bang, bang. Well, even if the offense is rolling, and we're getting hits, and let's say we're at 4 or 5 right now, that doesn't mean that we're going to win. Even if we were able to manufacture a 6-5 game right now, bullpen is everything, and we've been hot as of late. But again, you have to understand you have to call a spade, right? We understand when our team is good, and sometimes when our team is reeling a little bit. But it's better than what it was a few weeks back. But again, anytime you end up playing a World Series contender, sometimes things will go good and other times you get fucked up, I mean, we could have had a gem today and we could have been up 6-1, but that doesn't mean that we would win tomorrow if that would have happened. So we just got to hope Bryce Miller pitches better, and hopefully we can get some easy outs and not, have bases loaded within the first 2 innings. Hey, guy in the building, what's good? 1-2 pitch. Pitch is outside, 2 balls and 2 strikes. And, even some of the reaction videos I know are going to get low views, but as long as I know that I can make people happy like you, a guy, there's plenty of other matchups that I could have selected and got more views, more than likely. But sometimes you want to make sure you're taking care of the people that have been taking care of you on the channel. And again, the Saints fan base is always going to watch and support the most. Every other game and fan base is a wild card, so you don't really know. Cowboy fans, there's a lot of them out there on YouTube that like to watch when their team wins, not so much when their team loses in the highlight package. But again, some are going to do well. Some aren't going to do that well in the views because they're not going to hit the algorithm. YouTube's not going to help me, right? But even if a video gets like 100 compared to maybe a Saints one getting 3,000 to 5,000, out of those 100 views, right, you might end up getting 3 or 4 subs. So that's what it's about, and you want to be able to get as many views as possible, but you want to make sure you're putting out the effort on many facets there. Back, gone! And Jason Dominguez showing why they called him up. This one is over. One of the worst outings for Brian Wu. 7-1 Yankees. Exit velo 105.7, 414 feet, and everyone in the lineup is raking. And again, Wu's our best pitcher. So if this is happening to our best pitcher, what's going to happen when it's anybody else? Use your imagination. Not going to be pretty. Thank you, man. It's cool to be able to get more regular watchers too, to go from 2,000 to 2,500 to 3,000 to 3,500 to 4,500, and now we're at 5,000. So yeah, O-line is bad, but dude, you got Brock Bowers and it's exciting, right? Eventually Aiden will get in there as Wu has his head down and goes into the, bullpen locker room area, dugout. Not ideal. One of his worst starts, but it's the Yankees. So I'm not going to give it, all on him. Just saying, again, you got to think he had an 8-2 record coming in with a 2.38 ERA. That's his 3rd bad game all year. 3rd all year. Yankees, it happens. So hopefully tomorrow we'll get a little bit of payback, but not ideal. I mean, if I thought that something like this would have happened, I wouldn't have put Brian Wu on the thumb. I would have put Julio Rodriguez or Cal Raleigh, but I wanted to, give him a little extra good luck and put him on the thumb, but it just wasn't in the cards for today. All right. Take care. I hope you feel a little bit better. Congratulations to your Hawks, 2-0. Keep it going. Keep proving the haters wrong. Yeah. But I'll be watching, and, even if I don't, post all the reaction videos, I'm watching the highlight packages, of the games. I want to make sure, that not only am I an expert, on the MLB side for every team and every player, I got to be able to put in that time and energy, not only for fantasy football purposes, but also just for NFL and college football purposes, to be able to evaluate people going into the draft, as well as what's going on every single team. So that way I have a better understanding on this channel. So that way I can, educate and relay information. So that way we can become smarter as a group, not dumber. Because if you end up watching podcasts or TV, some of those people are not the smartest, and that is fact. Brock Bowers looks like Sam Laporta last year. Like, he looks like that guy. Like, now Sam Laporta's not getting targets this year. Hopefully that will change as the games go forward. But it seems like Amon-Ra and Laporta are taking a step back. J-Mo, Montgomery, and Gibbs are getting a step forward. So J-Mo is stealing targets from my Laporta at tight end and Amon-Ra St. Brown. So again, a little bit different type of offense, and I think that it's hurting them. They would have beaten the Bucks, I think, if they would have went to more Amon-Ra and Laporta. But again, they decided to, do this type of method to their madness. Deep balls to J-Mo. And again, he'll get touchdowns on deep balls like Carter, Rashid Shaheed, but you also have to not neglect your superstars. one of the best tight ends. He won, tight end number 1 in fantasy as a rookie. You don't not go to him. And Amon-Ra is already a top 5 receiver. Why are you not getting him the ball? But Bowers is just like Laporta, and I love it. Little flip to first. There we go. Austin Both. One away. Brian Wu looking there in the dugout in disgust. And again, you're not going to lose that often, Wu, but again, you got roughed up here today. Nice. Machado 2-run homer. What a great team. I'll be rooting for your team, to be that sleeper team in the National League. But again, that's exactly what the Seahawks need, is a Brock Bowers. And imagine Brock Bowers on Seattle. They got McDonald. The offensive line is getting better. The defense is getting better. And again, you never realize what it's like to have a great tight end until you actually have one. A lot of teams a lot of fans go through their whole lifetimes without having an elite tight end, unless you're blessed enough to be like a Gronk fan. Patriots or Kelsey or Kittle or whatever it may be, or Mark Andrews, even though Mark Andrews now kind of looks like he has gotten surpassed by Isaiah Likely. So, you never really know what you're going to get. But one thing I do know is Brock Bowers is a fucking animal. We knew he was an animal in college. He's bringing it over to the Raiders. Michael Penix Jr. would have been a good draft pick as well. But just the fact that even though you didn't get Michael Penix Jr., you got the second best thing. You got a tight end that could be there for many, many years. And I feel that Bowers can be a top 5 tight end with Laporta as being young bucks to take over Andrews and Kittle and Kelsey and kind of the OGs that are getting a little bit aged out. And the new wave, the new generation is coming in. I'm a little jealous. I wish I had a Brock Bowers on Tampa. So, yeah. Yeah, and you guys will hopefully address that, and you guys will go heavy O-line. Because really, if you guys just, invest in the O-line and the defense and stop getting guys that have suspect, issues off the field, and people going to jail, getting arrested, you just got to be able to evaluate the better players on defense. And once those guys stick, and then you get better offensive linemen, the Raiders will be in business, but you just got to make sure you do it early enough so you're not wasting Max Crosby's career. That's the best player that they've had on the Raiders in a long time. Yeah, I know they got Devontae Adams. He's a first ballot Hall of Famer. But to me, Max Crosby, that's the best player on the team. It's like a Howie Long, the tone setter. You got Crosby on the defense. You got Devontae on the offense. You just need a little bit more. Bottom of the 5th, 7-1 Yankees. Next up is Mitch Garver having to hit for Victor Robles. Not ideal in the leadoff position. Did hit a 3-run blast, though, in his last game, but I don't expect anything out of Garver here today. Yeah, but Raiders have had terrible luck, with players, going to jail or getting in trouble. Like really high-end, highly touted athletes in college, but if they have a checkered past, who cares on how good their 40 time is or how many tackles they had? You got to pass because you've been burnt over and over and over. And again, you have to have character guys because those athletes will give you great production, for a couple years, but eventually their past and their obviously off the field activities will catch up. And then at some point you may not even have access to the player. And then it ends up being a wasted draft pick. And that has happened for the Raiders like 4 or 5 times in the last 15 years. Not good. So hopefully, things will get better. And I know I'm not saying anything that a guy doesn't already know. He's trying to get this Raider team back to the Rich Gannon era in the early 2000s, or even further back in the Marcus Allen or possibly Tim Brown or, John Madden era when they actually were good. Little dribbler there by Julio Rodriguez. Nice job, Julio. Next up, big dumper catcher Cal Raleigh. And this would be a great time for him to hit a homer here so we can get down 7-3. It's not like we're more than likely going to come back, but we need to start chipping away in these next 3 innings, the 5th, the 6th, and the 7th. We're at 20, 80 to go. Thanks for the like and share, Elliot. Aaron Judge and Juan Soto are the first Yankee teammates to each hit 40 home runs in a season since Roger Maris and Mickey Mantle. Nice defense. Throw to second. Safe. There we go. And it's kind of ironic that we were talking about players like Mickey Mantle, and Roger Maris, and then all of a sudden, the ESP on this channel is a little weird, because again, we could always name different players in different eras. I could have went DiMaggio or, just stuck with Babe Ruth, but it's very weird when we end up talking about certain players and then all of a sudden some type of thing happens that's related to what we're talking about. What are the chances of that? That's crazy. Soto and Judge, first teammates from the Yankees to hit 40 each since Maris and Mantle. Awesome. I mean, I'm not a Yankee fan myself, but I love history, and that's very cool. And again, the Yankees are different with Juan Soto. They were different when he was on the Padres. They were different when he was on the Nats. And obviously, if he decides to leave the Yankees and join the Dodgers next year, watch out, because I definitely think that's possible. It all depends on who wins the World Series this year. Yeah, love me some John Madden and Pat Summerall. Growing up as a kid, listening to those guys call a game and working in the NFC, remembering the, Cowboys and the Niners and then Warren Sapp with Tampa and Brett Favre talking shit back and forth with Packers and Bucks games. I miss those days. I miss Madden on Sega Genesis, playing Madden 95, going to my friend's house, Jake, and playing for hours on end. Miss that time, miss that era. Bottom of the fifth, 7-1 Yankees. Runners at first and second with one out. And they are, challenging this or seeing if he was out? He's clearly safe. I don't know what the fuck this is about. And then we got Randy Arozarena next. Maybe he can do some magic. Fielder's choice. Runners are safe. Raleigh to second. Julio to second. Cal to first. Excuse me. Next up, left fielder Randy Arozarena. We need a homer here. Yeah, I hope that you guys are starting to get the right coach, the right pieces, and again, most teams, if you really want to be honest about it, their problem is offensive line and defense. But a lot of times they get baited, to go quarterback, running back, wide receiver, tight end, because that's what puts butts in the seats. But if you want to win championships and go further into the playoffs, you've got to go O-line, D-line, linebackers, secondary, coaching, play calling, OCs, DCs, GMs, owners. That shit is more important. Quarterback, running back, wide receiver, tight end is fucking irrelevant. Yeah, you can't have a garbage quarterback. But again, if you have an average quarterback, average running backs, average wide receivers, and tight ends, but you have elite head coach, elite OC and DC, elite O-line, elite defense, you're actually going to be better than a lot of the teams that have elite quarterback, running back, wide receiver, tight end, and nothing else. Because again, the coaching and the O-line and D-line aren't there to support the offense. And again, those teams usually will be good early, but they'll sputter and fade late. So it shows you, if you understand what it takes to build a champion, like in baseball, you got to have good pitching and a good bullpen, good closer. If you don't, it doesn't matter how many hitters you have. You got to be able to understand what it takes to win. Next up, Randy Arozarena, 1 ball and 1 strike. But again, most teams lack an offensive line, a good defense, and good play callers, or a good leader at head coach. And if they would just firm those things up, a lot of teams would go from 7-10 to 10-7, within a year or two. But they're too stupid to realize it, or they get baited. Like if the Panthers end up giving up on Bryce Young and go for Quinn Ewers, number 1 pick in the draft, it might help them short term, but they got a lot of more problems than just quarterback. Owner, GM, head coach, OC, DC, I mean, you name it, they have a problem. It's not just Bryce Young's fault. Hell, you put CJ Stroud and AR on the Panthers and they're only winning 1 or 2 more games. It's not like they're going to be playoff team with that quarterback there. Hell, put Patrick Mahomes on the Panthers and they probably only win like 5 games, maybe 6 at the most. And that's just even with Mahomes there. You're not going to the playoff. There's a lot of fucking problems. Bottom of the 5th, 7-1 Yankees. Runner at first with 2 outs. Hill on the mound to Randy Arozarena. 3-2 pitch. Randy, slow dribbler. Jazz. Wow. Jazz even stepped in front of the fucking shortstop and snagged that and then threw him out. Jazz is a good defender. Unbelievable. Christian Wilkins. Yes, I agree. And also, with no Josh Jacobs, I feel, when you're looking at like Zamir White and some of the others and like Madison, it's the same thing that kind of happened, to other teams like the Bengals, right? Obviously with DX, you have Joe Mixon, and now you got Zach Moss and you got Chase Brown, but it just doesn't equate to what you had. So it's like you can have a Madison, you can end up having Zamir White, and you can have other guys in there, but when you end up typically having a top 10 running back, normally Josh Jacobs, Joe Mixon, and then they leave, unless you're bringing in a guy like an Aaron Jones or someone that's like, maybe still got a little bit in the tank and was a top 10 running back. I don't know if Aaron Jones is a top 10 anymore, but he's borderline. But again, sometimes when you do running back by committee, it's going to take a couple years to realize this isn't good enough. We need to draft a beast out of college, or we need to pay big money to get another running back to come in like the Eagles did with Saquon. And you've already noticed the difference in the Eagle offense with Saquon Barkley compared to not having Saquon Barkley. But if you have a dumbass coach and the offensive line doesn't have Jason Kelsey, and you don't go for field goals at the beginning of the game when the game presents itself, then you end up losing by one, and you're going to get fired in a year or two, Nick Sirianni. So, I don't want to say that the Eagles missed their Super Bowl window. They still will be, it looks like, a halfway decent team competing with the Cowboys, but I don't think that they're good enough to make a deep run without Kelsey on the line. And again, they have some injuries with A.J. Brown. Defense is really suspect. Offense is the best thing about them. But again, I don't really feel that they have all the pieces like they did a couple years ago to be able to go all the way or even get to the NFC Championship game. But you never know. That's why we end up watching football. Top of the sixth, 7-1 Yankees. Austin Both back out there. And he is pitching to Oswaldo Cabrera. Big swing and a miss. Behind in the count 0-2. No balls and 2 strikes. I don't know if the Panthers are going to win a game. They definitely feel like an 0-17 team like we had with the Lions a few years ago. This team is worse than it was last year. And again, it's not all Bryce's fault. Like, again, if you don't have a good O-line, you don't have good wide receivers and running backs, you don't have a good head coach, you don't have a good defense, you have no one that believes in you, how the hell are you supposed to win? They said the Jags were bad when they were the worst team in football. This team, right now with the Panthers is 10 times worse than the Jags were. And the Jags were the worst team in football for 2 years. They got Trevor Lawrence and they ended up getting a new coach, Dougie P. from the Eagles. And they turned it around by getting guys like Christian Kirk and, they got ETN. And so they started to kind of mold it. They had Josh Allen on the defensive side at linebacker. So they started building it, and it got better. And then even at a point, they look like they might be able to win the AFC South. But this Panther team, man, the way that they're built and the way that they're looking with their owner, very immature. It was in the box and ended up spilling a drink on a fan on purpose. Like, everything about the Panthers is fucked. And again, they might end up being the worst football team, not only last year and this year, it could be for 2 more years where we might see like a record where no matter what they do in the draft or free agency, they might be like the worst team in football for 3 to 4 years. I don't think that would really surprise anybody if you're actually watching Panther games. They are stinky bad. But again, if you ended up having a coach like Jim Harbaugh on the Chargers, they would have a win within the first month. Again, certain coaches will get the most out of you. And I feel like if you don't have the right leadership in place when your team stinks, again, who would have thought the Chargers would start out 2-0? But Harbaugh has got that Charger defense playing like when they had Sean Merriman and when they had, when actually legit, or were like Junior Seau. So it shows you if you run the football and you play good defense and you have a charismatic head coach that had success on the Niners in Michigan and is trying to do something, even when they lose Eckler, Mike Williams, and Keenan Allen, they said, who the hell is Herbert throwing to? This team is ass. And then all of a sudden, 2-0. So it shows you coaching fucking matters. They might say that the Vikings are a Fugazi 2-0, but again, their defense is not the same as the Chargers. So again, Chargers offense is a work in progress, but just imagine when they do get an Eckler replacement, a better one than like Blake Corum, when they get another Keenan Allen, Mike Williams in the draft, the Chargers will be able to get better and end up being a 10-11 win team. Maybe not this year. I don't know. They're 2-0. It might be, flatlining at some point. But sometimes if you got the right coach and they build the team for a couple years, the Chargers might be able to win the division over the Chiefs or be a wild card team within a few years. Hell, if the Chargers overachieve this year and there's injuries to other teams, it's a chance the Chargers might go 10-7 and actually make the playoffs. I don't think that would, saying it out loud seems kind of weird, but again, I've been able to watch them very closely. I watch a lot of film, and they've changed. Staley and Anthony Lynn were dog shit, and I kept telling my Charger friend fans, these guys aren't going to cut it. You got sexy players on offense, but you're not going to do shit on D, and now you finally got someone to get the defense with Khalil Herbert, Joey Bosa, Derwin James, and Asante Samuel Jr. finally to live up to their potential. 2-1 pitch. Over Wolf's head. Throw to first, 2 away. They did ruin Bryce, and unfortunately, there's not going to really be anyone that's going to want him to start. But imagine, a team like the 49ers, and then, they'll take a flyer on a guy like that. If you get a team that already has everything there, and you can literally plug and play anybody at quarterback or running back, and you're going to have success. As long as Ayuk and Debo and Kittle and Trent Williams and Kyle Shanahan and Nick Bosa and Fred Warner and Talanoa Hufanga, it's like when you get teams that are already built with John Lynch and Shanahan, again, you might not be able to win it all. You're getting to Super Bowls and NFC championship games, but you don't have a Steve Young, Joe Montana quarterback. That's what's holding them back. But again, you can literally put any motherfucker at quarterback, at running back on the Niners, and it seems like they'll have some kind of success. So maybe that will be something that Bryce needs. He needs to go to a team that has a good structure to be able to turn his career around as a backup, or maybe as a starter for maybe 5 teams, at the, bottom 5. But again, no one wants Bryce right now based on what they've seen. They have better coaching with Tomlin, but again, I don't know how much better Bryce Young that would be than Russell Wilson or Justin Fields. I feel they're all kind of equally average. I don't think it's like you put Bryce Young on the Steelers. The offensive line stinks. Najee and Jalen Warren are average. A lot of the other receivers are gone. George Pickens has potential, but he's got a bad attitude. He's a me player. So again, unless you're giving him, 10 to 15 targets, he'll never be happy, and you'll never get the most out of him. He takes plays off, but I do like his athletic ability, but he's kind of like a problem child. You got to hold his hand across the street and shit. So, and the defense is the best part of the Steelers with TJ Watt and Minka, and obviously Cameron Hayward. So at least they got that going for them. But again, the offense is nowhere near as close as that defense for the Steelers. Gabriel in the building. What's good? Pitch is low at the knees, and Soto is walked. Next up is DH Aaron Judge. Out of all those quarterbacks in that draft, Justin Fields is the second best one. Mac Jones is trash. Zach Wilson is trash. And Trey Lance, we don't know because we never really got a chance to see him play. He's always, just kind of got injured and then he lost his opportunity. So, but it doesn't really look like Trey has got the skill set to be a starting quarterback. He kind of looks like a backup. But we'll never really fully know until he actually gets to play a few games and see what he looks like and see what kind of coaching and supporting cast he has. But the kind of consensus is that he's washed too, that he can't do it. He lost it mentally. So if you're mentally fucked, there goes Trey Lance, there goes Zach Wilson, there goes Mac Jones. Justin Fields is average, and Trevor Lawrence is a top 15 quarterback, but he's not as good as the number 1 pick, position where people thought he would easily be top 5 or top 10, like an Andrew Luck, and he's not an Andrew Luck. Now, he's still decent, and once in a while he'll play like a top 10 quarterback, but I think most people believe he's 11 through 15, kind of like a Kirk Cousins, where you're going to play good most of the time, but there'll be really bad games where you suck ass and you're scratching your head and you're like, this is not good enough. better than guys like Jameis Winston or Carson Wentz. You're better than those guys. But again, you're unless things improve, I don't know if Trevor is ever going to be a top 10 consistent, by fans. There might be a day where he's number 9 or number 8 or number 10, but I never see Trevor Lawrence being a top 5 quarterback ever. I don't see that in him. It's always going to be 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. And if he really sucks, maybe down to 20. But, that's just my evaluation on him. But if he goes to a different team, that could be different. Like imagine Trevor Lawrence on the Niners. Like he would be better. Then he would be a top 8 quarterback on the Niners. But again, going from the Jacksonville Jags to the Niners, I don't know if that would ever happen. But if Trevor were to go to the Niners later in his career, then yes, he could be a top 5, top 10 quarterback. But again, that's a big if. 2-2 pitch. Pitches inside to Aaron Judge. 3 balls and 2 strikes. I mean, obviously we know Fields can move with his legs better, than Russell Wilson, but Russell probably will have a better arm as far as, getting the ball, from the 20 to the 20, with more smoothness, even though he's old. He still was getting touchdowns with Cortland Sutton in Denver. And they have just walked Aaron Judge, but like if you could combine Russell Wilson and Justin Fields into one player, then maybe you would have a guy that would be listed as above average. Russell Wilson's arm, Justin Fields' legs, and then I don't know. I'm not sure if either one of them, as far as intelligence-wise, is what you would want out of a quarterback. But Big Bens don't grow on trees, and Kenny Pickett was a failure. So even though all Steeler fans told me a couple years ago, Kenny Pickett is the truth. He's from Pitt. He's going to be the guy. He's the next Ben Roethlisberger. We're going to win Super Bowls with him. And now, just a few years later, all of those people have disappeared. So that's how that goes. I tried to tell them, but they wanted to argue with me. They ended up going like 4-0 in preseason. He scored on every drive in preseason. And they said, Orion, you're an idiot. We're going all the way. AFC Championship game. Steelers this, Steelers that. Steel curtain. Wave the towel. And I told them you're wrong. And they said, come back. When they end up being good. And when they ended up not being good, they disappeared. So there's that. Top of the 6th, 7-1, Yankees. I don't miss Jameis's pick party. And again, it wouldn't have worked out if we had Marcus Mariota. He was the more mature quarterback. But Tampa's, coaching back then, as well as development and depth, was terrible. Anyone going to Tampa back then was going to fail. And again, Marcus would have been cooler for me to watch as a Duck fan, but it just wouldn't have worked out there either. But again, eventually things worked out. We got Brady, got a Super Bowl, and now we have Baker Mayfield, and I'm really happy. And we might have Baker for the next 5 to 10 years, so I don't have to worry about looking for a quarterback in the draft, and I can continue to build the offensive line, continue to get more receivers and running backs as Godwin and Evans get a little older, as well as improve the defensive line, the linebackers, and the safeties. So I'm liking the direction of where the Bucs are going. But yeah, I do not miss Jameis Winston. Not only his plays, but him on the microphone, and as him being immature. The last thing I could put up was an immature athlete. And Jameis is probably the most immature athlete that I have ever had on any of my favorite teams ever. I already knew that it was fucked when we picked him. And I didn't like him when he was at Florida State. And I didn't like him when he was on Tampa. And, it is what it is. I guess he's a character. He is a character. He does great sound bites. That's one thing that he's great at. And when he's retired, he should open up a crab shack, and make money that way. But other than that, I don't really have a whole lot to say about Jameis. And they fucked up the Browns by not keeping Flacco there and bringing in Jameis Winston. But the way that Deshaun Watson's been playing lately, Jameis might actually get a chance to play. Deshaun Watson has not been good. Predator. And we're not talking Arnold Schwarzenegger. Top of the 6th, 7-1 Yankees. Bases loaded again with 2 outs. 2-0 count to Austin Wells. Nice mustache. 2-0 pitch. Diaz. And we've definitely given up on this game if we have these guys coming in from the bullpen. Damn, Josh Rosen. Remember how they said, oh, he's going to be great. And again, everyone gets so hyped up for these quarterbacks, whether they win the Heisman or not. But unless you're watching college football regularly, you will understand who's going to make it and who's not. Yes, there's going to be surprises from time to time, like if you get an average quarterback, but he goes to a great system, like Brock Purdy on the Niners. And every once in a while, you're going to have success. It's the goddamn 49ers, and Purdy ended up, being a good fit. But if Brock Purdy was on the Panthers, would we be talking about him about right now? Or if Brock Purdy was on the Browns? Fuck no. No one's talking about Brock Purdy, and he's probably on the bench as a backup. So sometimes you got to be blessed on where you fall. But I am happy. Some polls have us high as number 3 right now, which is awesome. Others have us outside the top 10. I don't really care where people have us, but it is nice that we are good this year. Wells into the gap. And that's going to bring in 1, 2, maybe 3. And what's the score? 9 or 10-0? 10-1. Unbelievable. Base is clearing double. Austin Wells. 0 for 3 with 2 Ks. You bring in a pitcher from AAA, and then it ends up being 10-1. Remember when I said that they had a chance to get to 10? Well, there it is. When it ended up being 6-1, I already knew it was over. Yankees, real deal, man. .40. Could you imagine .04? .04. That would be nuts. It's really difficult to be a good quarterback. And it's more than just your skill set. And you have to be like mentally smart. You have to be physically gifted, and you have to be able to want to watch film and put in that hard work. Like, people see the hard work that I put onto this channel on stream, but nobody sees what I do behind the scenes, and how much work is put in behind the scenes to be able to be successful here with all the reading and the film study. 0-2 pitch. And again, when you're a quarterback, sometimes you need to have that GM, owner, head coach, OC, DC supporting cast. It's not just like, oh, I'm great, and I'm going to come in here and change the program, Like the Panthers are so shitty, you could have Patrick Mahomes there, and he still wouldn't be able to make it out of there alive. You would win more games, than what you have with Bryce Young, but you're not making the playoffs with Mahomes. Like, if you have the Panther roster and you put in Patrick Mahomes and that's it, right? You might be able to win 4 or 5 games, but you're not going to the playoffs. And that might be a stretch. You might only win 3 or 4, maybe 4 or 5 at the most, because the roster is terrible. Mahomes would make some of those players better, running back, wide receiver, tight end, but he can't make the O-line any better, or the defense, or the coaching. Popped up, and we finally get out of this inning, and the game is very, very close. It is 10-1 Yankees. Brutal. Brian Wu on the mound, our best pitcher, in 10-1. Fuck. Next up, 0 for 2 with a K, right fielder Luke Raley. Batting second, 1 for 2 with a K, first baseman Justin Turner. And batting third, 1 for 2 with a run, RBI, and a K, second baseman Jorge Polanco. Let's go Mariners. Like, sub, donate, comment, share. If you haven't smashed that like button yet, please do. Let's get to 30 likes at least. I mean, Yankee fans can come in here and smash that like button at least. We need 5 more likes to get to 30. We're at 25. Now we're at 26. So if you are in the room and you haven't done it, take a quick second look to see if you've done it and get us to 30. Only 4 more. Not very many to do. It's not like we're asking for 50 to 100 likes. We're asking for 30 to 50. So we need at least something positive today. Yeah, well, the Browns are stupid, and there's certain franchises that are not very smart. I can think of a couple of them that are pretty dumb. Cleveland, Washington, the Commandos. That might be the most dysfunctional organization in sports, even though that Dan Snyder sold the team. But, I like what they got with Jaden Daniels, but it seems like they have so many good players, sometimes even elite, right? Like that D-line was one of the best in football, but if you can't put a good owner with a good GM, with a good OC and DC, and put a good product together, it just ends up being a disappointing season year in and year out. Reflect in the building. What's good, brother? See you later, brother. Johnny Appleseed. I'll let you say a comment here and there, but if it's just going to continuously be negative, get yourself a different screen name. See you later, Johnny Appleseed. The Johnny Appleseed. No, but I didn't know the Johnny Appleseed was a bandwagon Yankee fan. Later, goon. People are on a very short leash on my channel. On every other channel, every other goon or troll can get away with anything. Here, you got one comment, maybe two, and then we make an evaluation. 0-1 pitch. Big swing and a miss. Behind in the count, 0-2. Bullpen has fucked us here. But again, Brian Wu did not have a good outing. But I knew that the lead would get bigger after Wu went out. Like, you thought it was bad with Wu, with that 6, and then all of a sudden, we let him go to the bench and they end up adding a little bit more. 10 runs, 11 hits. We have 1 run and 4 hits. That ain't going to get it done. 1-2 pitch. And that's strike 3 looking. That's the type of day it's been. 1 away. Meza. Next up, first baseman Justin Turner. Let's go, JT. Oh, yeah, it's all about money, right? It's all about money. Obviously, with the Taylor Swift and, all her billion followers and the NFL trying to be able to make money off jersey sales, Kansas City Chiefs, and as well as getting people to like the NFL.com on, Instagram and Facebook and Twitter, and then hoping that there are more merchandise, ticket sales, foam fingers, beer, Kelsey t-shirts, jerseys, whatever. It's always, people want to make it like it's just innocent and it's just, this is just what it is. No, there is always an underlining backstory. There's always a motive behind everything. People want to think that everything happens for a reason and it's all nice and, it's all, easy breezy cover girl. But if you really look and dig deep on how America and the way the world works, there's a lot of greed, there's a lot of selfishness, and it's all about money. It's all about popularity and money, and that's really what it is. And they try to be able to mask it with things in front of the American public. So you just have to either be able to see over the mask, or the mask is over your eyes and you're just oblivious. But that's kind of how it goes. But yes, definitely a grease ball. The guy was such a predator, that when the Washington Redskins cheerleaders would do photo shoots, he would end up having his investors there, and they would be there where they were changing. Like, they would just be like out in the open in Hawaii, and they would be changing like tops and changing bathing suits. And you'd have these like creeper investors just like, drooling, like staring at him like a bunch of creepers. Like, what owner thinks that that's okay? And obviously he's a guy just like those other guys. So anytime you get like creeper type of guys, then one creeper leads to another. I mean, I didn't know the league had a bunch of ditties, but apparently that's what we got. Watch out for all that baby oil that got confiscated today at Diddy's property, as well as guns and other things. 1,000 bottles of baby oil? You sick freak. Golly. We thought Drake was a freak. Diddy, watch out. We thought R. Kelly was bad. A lot of people are going down. Bottom of the 6th, 10-1 Yankees. Polo pops it up. 1,000 bottles of baby oil, you sick freak. Diddy, 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 diddy. Can't stop, won't stop. That's just the hilarious thing to hear, like the FBI when they do a raid and they talk about that type of shit that got confiscated. My goodness. Astros take the lead on a wild pitch. Fuck. Bottom of the 6th, 10-1 Yankees. Runner at first, 2 outs. J.P. Crawford up next. Fouls it off. Behind the count, 0-1. Hopefully tomorrow will be much better. I don't think any Mariner fan was anticipating this. I knew there was a chance that we would lose, but I didn't think it would be this bad. especially with Wu on the mound. I thought we would win today. Sports gods were like, fuck that, not today. Juan Soto, Aaron Judge. And again, Soto has made so much of a difference with this Yankee team. Now, if Soto wasn't on this team, maybe we win today, or maybe it's a lot closer. He has made a huge impact on their swagger and aura since Giancarlo Stanton has been getting a little bit older, can't really run, still has a decent bat, but Soto obviously is a top 10 player with Judge. Throw to first, and down goes JP. End of the 6th inning. Stop the bleeding, please. Go to the top of the 7th, 10-1 Yankees. Yeah, well, apparently nobody is a big stepper except for you and Reflect. You guys are the only guys that are 2-0. I'm proud of you guys. I was telling Reflect earlier today, I have never started a season off 1-1. I've never lost a game within the first 2 weeks, but when you play the champ from the previous year, that was just bad luck. Like, I had to go against Zini and fucking Reflect in the first 2 weeks. I mean, they didn't even give me a chance to go against someone a little bit easier. My God. But that's the way the schedule goes, But I guess people will say that going against me in the first 2 weeks or 3 weeks as well. They're like, oh, God, got to go against O-Dog, being a psychopath on the fucking wire for 4 hours every night. So, I guess it goes both ways. But hopefully I can end up having a better second half, and hopefully I don't have any more injuries. I still am going to make the playoffs, believe you me, but I don't know if I'll be able to get to first place based off my injuries. I might have to be second, third, or fourth, but maybe that's what I need to win this year. Instead of being first every year and then losing in the championship or in the third place game or winning the third place game, I need to be able to find a way to finish strong late. Injuries are a motherfucker. Let's see who's up here next for the Yankees. Next up for the Yankees, center fielder, 1 for 3 with a run RBI, center fielder Jason Dominguez. Batting second, 0 for 3 with a K, first baseman Anthony Rizzo. And batting third, 1 for 3 with 2 Ks, shortstop Oswaldo Cabrera. 10-1 Yankees. Dominguez, and he's big. I mean, look at him. He looks like Giancarlo Stanton and Aaron Judge. Like, where did he get these guys from? Like, everybody in New York is just bulky. Everyone built like Barry Bonds or Bobby Bonilla, Mark McGwire, Sam Sosa. All of them got the arms, but obviously no PEDs or roids, but everyone is just a brick house. Top of the 7th, 10-1 Yankees. Nobody on. 3-1 pitch to Jason, and that is a walk. God, our bullpen stinks. And why do we have Diaz pitching? He's terrible. They just gave up. They don't want to waste any other good pitchers in this game. They want to save them for tomorrow. That's exactly what they're doing. They're like, get all these shitty pitchers out there, and then we got to hope that tomorrow is better. Dominguez to first with the walk. Next up, first baseman Anthony Rizzo, 0 for 3, hopefully 0 for 4. Pitches inside, 1-0 count from Diaz to Rizzo. Fox just came out with their power rankings as well. ESPN, Fox, and all PFF, everyone's rankings are just so crazy. And again, I've seen a lot of rankings that are out there, and none of them are the same, but there's definitely certain ones that are more wrong than others. Top of the 7th, 10-1 Yankees. Runner at first with no outs. 2-0 count from Diaz to Rizzo. And the Yankees have been wheeling and dealing early on with bases loaded in the first and second. Judge getting 2 RBIs in the first and second to set the tone. Popped up to Luke Raley, 2 away. Next up for the Yankees, shortstop, Oswaldo Cabrera. Mariner fans are some of the best fans in baseball. Super passionate, super intelligent, and they give credit where credit's due. We don't have a toxic fan base. But I can't speak for every Mariner fan. Some Mariner fans are bitches, and all they do is just fucking bitch and complain all the time. You know, just repeating the same shit that we all know that's wrong with the team. And, you know, doing that over and over and over on social media gets really old. And that's why I don't really follow a lot of people, that cover the Mariners, because, again, I want to make sure I'm giving a good point of view. We call a spade when it needs to be, but we'll give praise to the other team when they do good things, and the players as well. You know, but again, you got to call out when things are not going well, but you also need to praise the good things that are going for the team. So, that's the problem with the, Seattle Mariner, social media, guys and girls that do their content for TikTok or Twitch or YouTube or Instagram, Facebook, or Twitter/X. Some are a little jaded and a little young, and they haven't gone through all the pain like a lot of us OGs have that are a little bit more calm, cool, collected. If you're a fan from the 70s and the 80s and the 90s, you're an OG like me. But if you're a fan from the 2000s and on, depending on how long you've been following them for and how hardcore, if you're just a fair weather fan or an occasional fan, there's different levels. But some of the younger fans that have only been following for 5 to 10 years, they can't handle this team. We went 20 years without making the playoffs. Now, us OGs can handle it, but for the young bucks, they can't, So being a Mariner fan or a Pacific Northwest fan is not easy. You have to be mentally strong to understand there's going to be a lot of failure and a lot of heartbreak and heartache. But when we're good, we're really, really good. And we might be able to go all the way when we get to that point. Popped up, Verdugo, the former Red Sox, in the left field. Randy Arozarena is there. We leave one stranded. And let's go to the bottom of the 7th, 10-1 Yankees. Yeah, it happens. I mean, hell, they're ruthless, just like Boston fans and other fans as well, where Aaron Judge can end up going on a slump and they can boo him. They booed him in his contract year. You wouldn't think that you would be booing arguably the Mickey Mantle, Joe DiMaggio, Babe Ruth of this generation. But again, Yankee fans, they like to drink, they like to party, they like to boo, and they are very hard, on their players. But I think that the players, they don't appreciate the boos, but they understand that the fan base is that way. And so they, obviously play extra hard to prevent the boos from happening, and it works. But every once in a while, they lose a game and the world is ending. So we know how that goes. But there is some good Yankee fans out there too. Not every Yankee fan is toxic. It just kind of depends. Maybe a lot of the New York Yankee fans, but I think like the global Yankee fans, not so much. But if you're a New York and you live in the Bronx or in one of the 5 boroughs, yeah, you might be a little jaded. You might be a little angry, but that might be just based off their job and living in New York and having to live in that fucking area with all that traffic and all those people. I wouldn't be that happy probably either if I lived in New York, unless I was extremely rich. All right, next up for the Mariners in the bottom of the 7th, 0 for 2, third baseman Josh Rojas. Batting at the leadoff spot to come in for Victor Robles, not ideal, 0 for 2 with 2 Ks, Mitch Garver. And batting third, center fielder Julio Rodriguez. 10-1 Yankees. Yeah, you got to deal with that too, being a Saint fan. Yeah, that was a crazy game. Yeah, but again, I would say there are some toxic Mariner fans that are younger and some that are older, but I think the Mariner fans that we have on this channel, are different. Again, like I've been following this team since the mid 80s. So, I've understood the good and the bad. And so for being a fan of almost, 40 years, 38, 39 years, I've only had 4 good years out of almost 40 of being a fan of this team. 4 good years. So again, how many, fans could actually handle 20 years of not making the playoffs, but still dressing up and wearing the jerseys and the hats and the do-rags and the chains and the socks and, whatever. It takes a special breed of fan to never give up. And, it's just one of those things. And again, when we end up being good, it's going to mean a hell of a lot more to us than just a bandwagon fan from another team or whatever, Nice hit there by Rojas. Nice single. Next up is Mitch Garver. Pitches outside, 1-0 count. We're trying to get to 4 before the game ends. If we get to 4, we're going to have a better chance to be able to win tomorrow. Yeah, that's not the problem. The problem is you ended up losing McDonald, right? And again, you've seen what happened with the Seahawks. They've improved, and the Ravens have gone backwards. So firing Harbaugh would be the dumbest shit that they could do, because he's still one of the top 10 coaches in football. But again, at some point, Harbaugh and Mike Tomlin will be let go. But again, the guy that they end up getting after them won't be as good, more than likely. Yeah, it kind of depends on how much misery you've had with your favorite team. Basketball, baseball, football, hockey. Everyone has limits. And especially if you were younger and then you ended up having success, a la Madden, Tim Brown, Marcus Allen, Bo Jackson, Rich Gannon, Jerry Rice, and you've gone through these different eras and it's been a drought. It's, it's tough, to be able to support in the same way when you're used to winning Lombardis and being fucking relevant. And then now just being like a team that's, crawling and trying to get better, but kind of shooting themselves in the foot with draft picks and not having the right owner or GM or head coach. But hopefully things get a little bit better. But on the bright side, you look like you got the best tight end in football right now in Brock Bowers. So again, you did need offensive line, but you also did need a tight end. And with Devontae and Jacoby Myers, if they're covered, you can go to a check down guy like Bowers like 12, 13 times a game. Line drive, Julio, there we go. There we go. Runners at first and second, baby. Rojas stayed at first because he thought he was going to be out, but got enough time to be able to get to first and second. Ooh. Yeah, the Knicks. See, for me, like when I used to watch the Knicks, and basketball used to be my number one. Basketball was good. It's not good anymore. John Starks and Patrick Ewing and Charles Oakley, going through Derek Harper and going through all of those guys, Anthony Mason, the OG era. I just feel like now it's soft. Nobody plays defense. Everyone shoots threes, including centers. It's just not a good, presentation of what the NBA is supposed to be, in my opinion. So I think every other organization has passed them, based off fun. Like going to a basketball game can still be fun. Like I can go to a Blazer game in Oregon and have fun, but on TV, unless you're a fan of a superstar player, it's not really what it used to be. The 80s and 90s were so much better than what you're getting now. The last 25 years of basketball have been some shit. They haven't really been that good. Regular season, some games are unwatchable. Hell, even some of the games in the playoffs were unwatchable. Like even the Olympics was more entertaining than some of the games that were in the playoffs. Tell me I'm wrong. With those rules, with FIBA, like the Olympics was more fun to watch than some of the playoffs. Like the NBA has a fucking problem. The NHL is better already. MLB is better. NFL is better. College football is better. Hell, NASCAR is better. But again, if you love watching the Knicks, good for you. Obviously, I can tell that you're young because if Melo Knicks is your prime, you're a young buck. You're not like me. So, but hopefully the Knicks can get back to, the days when they had Ewing and company, or even when they had Melo, or even prior to him, like Allen Houston. Bottom of the seventh, 10-1 Yankees, runners at first and second with 2 outs. Next up is Randy Arozarena. Can we get an RBI here? Doesn't even have to be a home run, which would be great to get it to 10-4, but we need to get to 4 to have a chance to be able to win tomorrow. We need momentum here. Yeah, I mean, not competitive. A lot of the matchups in the playoffs, not competitive. Luka not playing defense really killed it for me. We already know he can score, but I don't know, man. It's just, I'll still keep up and watch a little, but I'm not going to stream NBA on my channel. That might be the only thing I don't stream, and if I do, it'll be very rare. Like I said, in the past, I would be more open to it, but I can't fake pretending to be excited for 3 hours when I'm just bored out of my mind and the product that you're watching is terrible. But I will say this, going to an NBA game in person is fun. I can go to the Blazers once or twice a year and have a great time. I can go to the arcade. We can go get pizza. I can go to a Blazer game. I can go to Voodoo Donut after. We can make a night out of it. But again, watching it on TV, pretty rough. I mean, unless you're a fan of Luka or Embiid or Giannis, or one of the big name players, Victor Wembanyama. If you've got a reason to watch, then I get it. But if you're not one of those fans of one of the superstars, and you got to be maybe like, a hardcore, fan that lives in that particular state, and that's all you got, or that's what you're born and bred with. So. Zay, March Madness was better than the NBA Finals. I agree. Hell, even the women's tourney in the last 2 years, with all the talent that has come out, has been more entertaining. Because college for the men's was worse than the women's. When you saw Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese, you knew they were going to be good in the WNBA. So it shows you, even though the WNBA isn't really accepted by everyone still, it's a better product than what it was 5 years ago with Sabrina Ionescu, and you're starting to see some of these other ladies coming in, and there's also a few more ladies that are going to be coming into the draft this year that'll be able to make a name for themselves as well. So it seems like the athletes on the female side have gotten better, and on the male side, it's gotten worse. Throw to first, and we leave two stranded. What's new? 10-1 Yankees. John Bertie up next. Let me see if I have a photo of John. All right, there it is. I was going to say, I have one somewhere. There it is. Next up for the Yankees, pinch hitting for Gleyber Torres, John Bertie. Batting second, 2 for 2 with 3 runs, 2 RBIs, 2 base on balls. Juan Soto, first ballot Hall of Famer. And batting third, another first ballot Hall of Famer, DHing Aaron Judge, 2 for 3 with a run, 4 RBIs. 2 RBIs in the first inning, 2 RBIs in the second inning, and he's got a base on ball. Shows you how big of an impact Soto and Judge are. It's no longer Giancarlo Stanton and Judge. It's the Soto and Judge show. And Giancarlo, I don't know if he'll be getting in here today. Probably not. Maybe he'll play tomorrow. But they've been kind of, resting him up. He does have injuries from time to time as well as Giancarlo Stanton. But again, when they have all 3 in the lineup, and they're all on the same page, watch out. End of the 7th, 10-1 New York. No, not usually. It just kind of depends. He'll usually be in center field, but every once in a while they'll give him a rest and just have him hit. So it's out of every, let's say they do 5 games, maybe 1 game he DHs and 4 he'll play center field. So that's kind of how they do that. Both. He's terrible, and the supporting cast is terrible, and the coaching is terrible. The owner is terrible. The GM is terrible. Everything is terrible there. Yeah, she's padding her stats, but even though she's padding her stats, she's still a good player. She's one of the draws. Whether you like her or not. The sad thing is they made it about race in the WNBA, and you could definitely tell that they were targeting certain white and black players and acting like they're not. And we obviously know big wild throw over the first baseman's head. And, you're going to get straight, female basketball players, and you're also going to get gay, WNBA players. But you can definitely tell, whether they're straight or they're gay in the WNBA. There's a certain type of targeting that they are targeting certain athletes that are white and black, and it shouldn't be like that. But there's a lot of jealousy that is involved when they see success, from, whatever type of player against another type of player. And you would think in 2024 that we would be beyond this, but racism and sexism is never going to stop. And it's just kind of funny. It's like one of those things that people don't want to talk about because it's kind of a sensitive subject. But if it's real and it's what's happening, it needs to be discussed, and at least brought up. And, if you got two eyes, you can definitely tell what's going on. But a lot of people try to cover it up, or they try to act like it's not a race thing when it is. You can blatantly tell when people are targeting an athlete and trying to hurt them, based off jealousy. Like, you can be a good basketball player, black, white, Asian, Mexican. It's like you can have ballers of any race. It's not like just one race is going to dominate the sport forever. You're going to get others that are going to be able to make a mark on the game. Don't be jealous. Don't be hating. Top of the 8th, 10-1 Yankees. Runner at first with no outs, 1-1 count to Trent Grisham. Popped up. Julio's there. One away. I don't know, because for me, I'm I'm multi-race myself. So obviously, I've gone through, the way that some people may not be able to understand, because obviously my dad is European, he's Czechoslovakian and he's got a lot of European. And then my mom is 100% Japanese. So, not only was I was able to get along with Asian, friends and people, but also some would look down on me because I wasn't 100% Asian, because I was the half breed. But then I would get along with other races of Caucasian and Mexican and black. And, it's like I always had friends of all races. But again, you don't really realize how things are unless you have friends of all races. If you're only hanging around just like your race, you're not going to understand different perspective, for black, white, Asian, Mexican, or anything in between. So, that's why I'm really blessed on the neighborhood that I grew up, that I never really saw color, even though people would view me a certain way, or they would think I was Hawaiian or Mexican, or they thought I was mixed race of something. They didn't know what the hell I was, but, So you can get it on the positive side, but you can also get it on the negative side as well. It's like, oh, you're Asian, but you're only half, so I'm not going to accept you. They try to, they wouldn't say that to your face, but you can tell with the body language and the way that they would talk with the others. The people that were full, that would be like, oh. But sometimes there's jealousy involved as well, based on the things that are going on in your life and whatnot. So, but definitely WNBA's got a race problem. 2-2 pitch. Pitch is low at the knees to Aaron Judge. 3 balls and 2 strikes. For real, though, you're going to get races that hate each other as it is. White on white, black on black, Mexican on Mexican, Asian on Asian, And not every Asian race is the same. Japanese, Chinese, Korean, they're different. Vietnamese, it's not like everyone gets along. Like people think, oh, you're Asian, you get along with all the Asians. To a certain degree, like when you're gambling or you're playing basketball, I could do that with Koreans and Vietnamese and Chinese and Japanese. But when it comes down to certain races, you can tell some are going to be a little bit more confined to their own race. Like my Korean friends, they don't really have a lot of friends that are not Korean for whatever reason. It's like, I don't want to say it's like a gang, but definitely those were some that, you could tell that you're haters, and again, and I don't say every Korean friend that I had was a hater, but because I did have some that were half white, half Korean too, and we would vibe because we were both half, even though I was half Japanese. But yeah, I feel that, there's a lot of that hating that's going on that's not talked about for sure. Top of the 8th, 10-1 Yankees. runner at first with 2 outs, 2-0 count from Diaz to Wells. But again, I was just blessed to be able to not see color and, to be able to, interact and vibe with anybody of any race, of any age. And also when I ended up going to work for a Fortune 500 company when I was 17, and I gave up my starting point guard spot on varsity to go work for this job and to be able to build my skill set on the phones as well as here today. And, to be able to work with people, in Boston and New York. We worked in Oregon, but we called businesses in Boston and New York as well as across the country, for different things, either lawn care on one job, trees and shrubs and lawn care, as well as cable internet phone for businesses. You really learn a lot, about how people talk to you and how people treat you and whatnot. And, I wish more people would not be so sexist and racist, but that's just how the world is, and it's never going to be any different, sports-wise or just in our regular lives. Top of the 8th, 10-1 Yankees. Runner at first with 2 outs, 3-2 count from Diaz to Wells. Ooh. Very cool. Send me a picture of that. Big swing and a miss. Down goes Austin Wells. And let's go to the bottom of the 8th, and it's a very close game. We're only down 9. Yeah, and it also depends on where you live. And I think it also really depends on a lot of people, whether you're young or old, they don't make their own decisions, right? They don't have their own opinion. So depending on if you grew up with a mom or dad or a grandma or a grandpa or aunt or uncle, for whatever way, if they were born a certain way and they have certain views, whether it's politics or not, sometimes that gets passed down to the kids or yourself, whether you believe in that or not. And a lot of times when people get more mature and they get older and they can make their own opinions for themselves, but sometimes they're so brainwashed by their parents or who raised them, either the right way or the wrong way. And then you end up getting these like closet sexist or racist people that don't even realize they're sexist and racist because this is just how they grew up. And they think it's normal to talk to people this way or to be like that. So, as you get older, you have to be able to make up your own mind and not just believe what your parents believe or what your cousins believed or your grandpa or your aunt or uncle, because they may have believed something, but they might have believed something that was horribly wrong. And if you believe that same shit, you're going to be a part of the problem in the world instead of part of the solution. Facts. Go to the bottom of the 8th. We're only down by 9, baby. Let's go. Let's see if we can make a tremendous comeback here. We'll be live tomorrow, 6:30 Pacific, same time, same place, hopefully different result. Next up for the Mariners, 0 for 3 with 2 Ks, Luke Raley. It would be awesome if he could hit a home run here. I still want us to get to 4. Most people have probably already turned this game off, but I always like to look at the bright spots in adversity. Who is still trying when we're getting our ass kicked? And that makes me believe in you more as a player. 0-1 pitch to Luke Raley. Stroman on the mound. Pitches outside. 1 ball and 1 strike. There it is. Back, back, back. My ESP is correct. Gone. Telling you, my ESP is on point, baby. Let's go. Let's go, baby. Back, 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 back. Bringing that electricity. Your boy's got that ESP. Bang. 10-2 Yankees. The sports gods are like, O-Dog wants it to get to 4. We're still going to lose, but I want us to be competitive tomorrow. And there you go. Thank you, sports gods. You always listen to what I have to say. 4 runs. Now we're at 10-2. Only down by 8 now. Let's go. Nice job, Luke. Next up would be Justin Turner, but we have a pinch hitter, Dylan Moore. Let's go, Dylan. Little dribbler. Throw to first. 1 away. Next up, second baseman Jorge Polanco. No, Luis Urias. Wow, they're just dumping the whole lineup. Are we giving up? Golly. They're just doing pinch hit. They don't want to waste anybody for tonight. They just said, fuck it. Luis Urias. One ball and one strike to Urias. One count. Chop foul. Altuve got ejected. He took his sock off to show his toe. No way. Was his toe bleeding? Could you see like swelling or the toe bleeding or whatever? That's hilarious. Bottom of the ninth, 3-3. Let's go Padres. 2 balls at 2 strikes. Hey, but 10-2 is a hell of a lot better than 10-1. Sometimes you just got to be able to have that faith, even though you know you're going to lose, but finish strong, Like everyone knows we're going to lose, but I mean, if you can get to 4, that's going to be a good sign for tomorrow. It's good juju in the air. People don't realize, when you give up, that shit carries over into the next game. But if you play hard all the way to the end and you end up losing 10-4 or 10-6 rather than 10-1, there's going to be a little bit more energy in the building going into game 2 to get payback instead of just being, woe is me, we got our ass kicked, Full count to Luis Urias. Chopper towards third base. Jazz fumbles it, and it's safe. There we go. Infield single to third. Jazz bobbles it. We'll take that. And next up is shortstop J.P. Crawford, 0 for 3. An unexpected J.P. Crawford home run to make it 10-4. Yes, please. He said no blood, but he definitely fouled the ball off his toe. Ump was wrong. Umps are always wrong. They're terrible. Pitch is outside. 1-0 count. I guarantee I'm the only Mariners fan that streams that is going to be like this. A lot of the others, they just can't handle it. But again, I feel like if you've already gone through hell and back, you already know what it's like to be a Mariner fan. I can still throw up the chain, still be positive. A lot of Mariner fans have turned this game off. But again, when I do this for a full-time job, I don't have that option. I have to be able to get the best, out of a bad situation and to try to look for those bright spots in life as well as in the Mariners. Bottom of the 8th, 10-2, and absolutely shellacking on the Mariners. Runner at first, 1 out. 2-1 pitch to JP. Big swing and a miss. 2 balls and 2 strikes. Come on, JP. I'd love for the game to be 10-4 before the game ends. Get at least on base, JP. Pitch is outside. 3 balls and 2 strikes. Like, sub, donate, comment, share. If you haven't smashed that like button yet, please do. We have to be getting close to 30. We hopefully are just a couple away if we haven't hit it yet. Where are we at? We're at 27, 3 away. I know some of y'all got backup accounts. Now we're at 28. We need 2 more to hit the goal. Let's go, baby. Yes, sir. Interesting matchup between Reflect and Captain Oreo. I'll definitely be locked and loaded on that one. I'll be spying on all your guys' shit. But Reflect being 2-0, no surprise, because it was either going to be him or me, right, when we played each other there. But Elliot, Double E, the Steppas, you look like you were going to be a team that was going to be somewhere between 5 and 10, and you picking Lamar in the first round was batshit crazy. but it's worked out for you so far with your team. Congratulations on your 2-0 start. That's probably the biggest surprise so far. Not that we doubted you and thought that you sucked, because I think that we know that, you know, you've done, you know, fantasy with football and basketball and baseball. You know, you didn't really, you know, you weren't really into baseball, and I told you to go to a game with your friends, and now you're hooked. And I love that, you know, that you were just like football and, you know, occasionally would watch maybe baseball here and there, but didn't really give a shit about it. But now you're like the most hardcore Padre fan doing fantasy baseball leagues, even though I don't even do that. And it's cool to be able to see someone grow. Like Elliot has literally grown from a boy to a man on stream. Like he started following the channel when he literally was a kid, and now he is an adult. So that is very cool to be able to see you grow right in front of my very eyes. You know, you're the youngest mod between you and Matt, and the longest young mod on the channel. And I'm very happy to have you a part of it. And I'm glad that you're in the league too. You know, every once in a while, we need a kick in the ass and a surprise by someone that looks like they're going to be somewhere between 5 and 10 that might steal a spot in the playoffs if you can continue to keep playing like the way that you are. Good job, bro. But I don't think we're going to have any undefeated teams this year. You know, I think that, you know, we're going to have everyone with at least one loss. There'll be some teams with 2, some with 3. But again, there might be one team, Elliot or Reflect, that goes, I don't know how long, 5-6 weeks before losing. But eventually, you're going to have that week that you have the most guys on a bye. That's typically the week that you lose. But again, if you end up, you know, staying injury-free and you have a good draft and you pick up guys, you know, there is a chance for teams to go with one loss. I mean, hell, I've gone, you know, times with undefeated, 1 loss, 2 losses. So, you know, it just depends on who's in the league with you and how many injuries you have. Popped up to right field. And we are done with the 9th inning, baby. Let's go to the top of the 9th. Let's get this bleeding to stop. See who's up for the Yankees. You were 14 when you started watching. And the cool thing is that you watched the channel when I first started. So when you first started watching me, when I had a partner on the channel, and then you've been able to see the growth of this channel on the way that the presentation looked and the reaction videos where we had a green screen, but we didn't know how to use it, you know, and now being able to make my own thumbnails on the reaction videos as well as the live streams, you know, getting the scoreboard, good backgrounds with the cards, the ticker, adding photos, doing baseball, basketball, football, hockey, wrestling, NASCAR. Like, it's been crazy. I've had to reinvent myself many, many times on this channel, but to be able to finally kind of hone in on the name Northwest Sports Fanatics and to be able to be full-time with the Mariners and get the support, do the Ducks, get the support, as well as the NFL, the Kraken now for the NHL. You know, it's a cool thing, as well as wrestling fans that obviously know me. I'm a big wrestling fan. So eventually we'll end up doing not only WWE PLEs or pay-per-views every month, right? But we're also going to be doing Monday Night Raw live streams. Maybe not during football season when we have Monday Night Football, but that will be another opportunity that if the baseball game is bad or the Mariners have a day off or Monday Night Football is ass or it's not football season, that depending on if we have hockey or not or basketball, we can always do wrestling instead. So I think that's pretty cool. Even if you're not the biggest wrestling fan, you can come and hang out and vibe for a couple hours. So I think that's going to be a big thing here on the channel also. So there really isn't anything that we don't do, but Elliot is literally the youngest, most loyal watcher, and there's a reason why he's a mod, and he was a mod with me years ago. So way to stick it out, and we really do appreciate you. Fucking 14, bro. Crazy. Grasshopper double E, dude. In the building. One more like to 30. Let's get there. Jazz Chisholm trying to make us pay even more. For all the money that the Yankees have and all the graphics, you would think I'd be able to find a Yankee spinning logo or something cool. You know, but I just, you know, have to use the logo itself. They have another one where it's like the pinstripe. It's like a circle logo. But I mean, I can obviously go like this, you know, while the Yankees are up, just using the MLB spinning logo, which I like. That has that 4th of July. Oh, Julio dropped it. Jesus Christ. Jesus Christ. Jazz Chisholm with a double. Everything going wrong for the Mariners. I mean, I'd rather have a spinning logo than no spinning logo, but the Yankees will just get the stationary logo. But it is kind of towards the end of the game in the ninth. Let's switch it up to this MLB one. We've already seen the just PNG, NY there. Let's get something spinning. Spinning always looks better in the top right anyways. Megan with a tenner. Appreciate you. Let me know what you want to do for photos. Stacks on stacks, racks on racks. A little cactus jack, bang, bang. Dominguez pops up. Next up, 0 for 4 with a K, first baseman Anthony Rizzo. Popped up. Julio doesn't drop that one. 2 away. Yeah, you're the same, Reflect. We know how it goes. We can respect other players on other teams. Everyone's going to have their favorites. And yes, I will be able to throw that up for you. Cabrera single to left to Randy Arozarena. Chisholm. And he scores 11-2 Yankees. My God. Stop the bleeding, please. Next up, left fielder Alex Verdugo. I'll give you a little Judge, a little Soto, and I'll get you a Giancarlo here in a second. They got Rivas pitching. He's not even a pitcher. Little dribbler towards first, and then the inning for the Yankees is over. Now we're down by 9 runs, 11-2. They definitely gave up, after Wu came out of the game because they didn't want to waste any more of their pitching and whatnot. And it shows you, if you got a good bullpen, you might hang around. But if you don't, you'll get fucked up. And that's what happened here. All right, let's go to the bottom of the 9th. We're only down by 9. We need to score 10 runs to win. Very easy. We can do this with our eyes closed. Just got to get these Stefan photos up here for Megan, and then we're on our way. We're going to dominate. Hopefully tomorrow will be better than this. Sprinkle in a little bit of everything for you. Commercials, they don't last long. See if I can get one more in here. Astros 4, Padres 3. Come on, Padres. Next up for the Mariners, Mitch Garver. Batting second, 3 for 4, Julio Rodriguez. Always playing good when the team overall isn't. And batting third, 0 for 2 with 2 base on balls, big dumper, Cal Raleigh. Hope you enjoyed those. Oh, they're having Rivas come up. All right, Rivas is hitting. Rivas for Garver. Good old Leo. They're like, you're going to pitch, and we're going to have you come out there. Leo getting an AB. 250 average, no homers, 8 ribbies in 36 games for Leo Rivas. Where's Ryan Bliss and Tyler Locklear when you need them? One-two pitch to Rivas. Pitches outside. 2 balls and 2 strikes. And even though this season has had a lot of roller coasters, up and downs, I've really had a lot of fun, calling the Mariner games and vibing with the other fan bases and also new Mariner fans. Obviously it hasn't gone the way that we wanted fully this season, but just to be able to do 100, plus games, like I don't even know exactly how many I've done, but my goal was to do 150 out of 162 and just miss a few if we did football or wrestling instead, or if they had a game on really early and I was busy. But, I ended up doing more Mariner streams than any other YouTube streamer to kind of be known as the regular Seattle Mariner YouTuber. So, again, the audience will get bigger and bigger as the Mariners get better and better. But shout out to all the people in the room and all the loyal watchers and followers and subscribers. Again, I'm always going to have fun doing the NFL, regardless of what team I'm covering, or if I'm doing the Oregon Ducks or the Kraken, as well as NASCAR. But to be able to put in the time and the energy for the Mariners to be able to make baseball fun, for people that may not think it is. Again, and you have a relationship with the game. Going in person is always much better, but to be able to bring fun and something different to baseball is always something that I wanted to do. And Julio, again, going crazy, 4 for 5 in an irrelevant game. Remember when I said he does good and everyone else does nothing? Here is this example right here. It's like, oh, Julio had an amazing game. What did he do? Oh, he went 4 for 5. How did you guys do? Oh, we lost by 9. Oh, my God. Robles, 0 for 0. Garver, 0 for 3. Rivas, 0 for 1. Raleigh, 0 for 2. Randy, 0 for 3. Rayleigh, 1 for 4. Turner, 1 for 2. Moore, 0 for 1. Polo, 1 for 3 with a homer. Urias, 1 for 1. Crawford, 0 for 4. Rojas, 1 for 4. It's like literally, the one guy that does something good besides Polo with his home run, and then everyone else, they did the best David Blaine impersonation they could. Goodbye. They disappeared. Now you see me. Now you don't. Catch me if you can. Bottom of the 9th, 11-2 Yankees. Runner at first with 1 out. Cal Raleigh home run would be great right here. Obviously we have nothing really to gain, but we could get stats. And again, get it to 11-4 is a lot better than 11-2. And it would give Cal his 31st home run of the season. He's batting .212, 30 homers, 93 ribbies. I would love for him to get to 35 and 100 ribbies before the season ends. Cal popped up, not going to leave the yard. Into left field, 2 away. No home run today. He's saving it for tomorrow. And possibly our last batter here for Stroman with a runner at first, left fielder Randy Arozarena. Let's see if he walks away from the box 3 times in a row, and then the 4th time he hits a home run right down the middle into the second deck to make it 11-4. Never seen a player do what he does, but pitch on the corner for a strike. 0-1 count. Yeah, Julio got the purple sparkly shoes. It kind of reminds you of shoes if you ended up having a daughter, or if you've been around family or friends that have a young daughter that go to like ballet, or if they're like, kind of young and they're watching like Frozen, and then they have like Frozen shoes, based off that with the sparkles. That's what it kind of reminds me of. Hey, but if Julio wants to wear the sparkly shoes and he goes 4 for 5 and it works for him, so be it. I mean, we've been busting out the custom cleats and coming up with some pretty cool gear this year for the Mariners, different players like Brian Woo's, Ric Flair cleats that are custom with artwork on it. And, it's nice to be able to see kind of the swagger and personality come out for some of our players. Bottom of the ninth, 11-2 Yankees, runner at first with 2 outs. I mean, I know if I was like a shoe king, like artist, I'd be fucking making shoes for every player on the team and sending it to them, seeing if they would wear it, or at least, have it at their house and they can, have it as like a gift. 3-2 count. Randy can't believe it. And that is it. Final score, Yankees 11, Mariners 2. And Randy just takes a strike looking after that. And you just got to give all the credit to the Yankees. This was all Yankees from the very start. And again, Brian Wu never had a chance. Bases loaded in the first, right? And then what happened? A guy named Aaron Judge decided to ruin the party, right? And then he brings in 2-0 Yankees. And then what happened? Later on in the second inning, right? Obviously, Juan Soto doing business and Aaron Judge, another 2 RBIs. And then once you already knew it was 4-0, chances are we have a hard time manufacturing hits and runs as it is. It was definitely tough. So I appreciate you guys very, very much. Is there anything else that I can give picture-wise to the people that donated? Is everyone okay with what I put up? If there's anything else that I can put up for the people that donated, let me know. Otherwise, I need to go eat dinner, spend time with Paisley, and then again, I've already made the thumbnail for tomorrow, so that way I can spend a little bit more time with Paisley. So obviously today's thumbnail was not good for us, even though I wanted to give Brian Wu some love. But tomorrow's thumbnail, here we go. We got Aaron Judge and we got Julio. So again, we already know Aaron Judge is a monster. Hopefully Julio can match his 4 for 5 performance today, and he can do it tomorrow, but also others can bring the electricity and get involved as well. So I love you guys, and I appreciate you guys very, very much. And again, final score, Yankees 11, Mariners 2. GG to all the Yankee fans. You guys dominated. I'll be live tomorrow, same time, same place, 6:30 Pacific, hopefully a different end result. And I got one question for you. Who do you know talk sports like us? Your boy Ryan, Northwest Sports Fanatics. I love every single one of y'all guys. Reflect, Megan, Elliot, all y'all, DX, Sarah. You guys are the best, and I'm out. Gang. Go Mariners. Let's go M's.